night and the Gemini crew. Cause you're here with us tonight. Everything's alright when you're here with Mike in the night. Mike it through the night, you're here with Mike in the night. Giving the world light when you're here with Mike in the night. Mike it through the night, you're here with Mike in the night. Sometimes things are just absurd, so let's just talk about the world. Cause you're here with us tonight. Mike it through the night, you're here with Mike in the night. Mike it through the night, you're here with Mike in the night. Let's just talk about the world. Give this page another curl. Cause you're here with us tonight.
I bid you all good morning, good evening, good night, wherever you may be watching this transmission. You are tuned in to Mike in the Night. So crack open your window, get some sparkling water, extend your easy boy chair. Whether you're watching us from your apartment in the sky in the city, or a cabin in the woods, or in some train traveling somewhere across the country, you are tuned in to Mike in the Night. And tonight, we got some very big surprises for you guys. I couldn't wait to get started tonight. You have no idea. That's why everyone in the comments is throwing out, you are early, you are early, you are early. Yes, I know I am early. I am actually very early, but there's a reason why. We're going to do tonight a very special Mike in the Night-a-thon. We're going to go for quite a bit tonight, because I got some manpower or some more energy behind me, or some extra water has been giving me some cool energy. So anyways, guys, I want to thank everyone for tuning in, and I want to thank everyone for being part of this channel. And it's a really trying time we're in right now. We're in a very testing time. We're being tested right now. And I'm feeling out what's been going on around us and trying to put my finger on the pulse, and it's just so hard. It's so hard to pinpoint or understand or gauge what is going on around us. We got that stupid locust crisis. We got the famine in East Africa, corn famine, or agriculture problems in Central Africa. You got huge issues in Southeast Africa with deforestation. You got massive issues with droughts all over the central part of the world's experiencing a bit of drought. You got the fires in Australia. You got the CV virus going around. You got, the breakdown of distribution all around us. Hi, Mike from New Zealand. What is the real keep up good work? Cheers. Keep up the good work. Cheers. Thanks, boss. Ben North, lots of CV cover up. Yeah, coronavirus is a huge cover up, guys. You should always be this early from EMF protection. We got K-Pax, Perfect Time, Hollywood Stevo. Oh my God, Hollywood Stevo in the house. Thanks for joining us, buddy. And Layla, my girl in the house. Thank you for joining us. And we got Mike L, 26 Gunter, Layla again, who was technically first. W. Pizzets, one of our our channel members for coming. Welcome, friends. Thanks for joining us. We got Ben North from across the ditch. Wildflower, hi, Mike. And we got Mike Jenkins. What's up? All right, what's up, people? All right. Let's go over some channel news real quick before we kick off any other important news in what's happening in the markets or what's happened in the world or our distribution. So let's get into this. The channel's back on track. We've been gaining subscribers again, which is really good. Thank you very much, guys. Mike in the Night last week. If you have missed it, or the week before, guys, get into these Mike in the Nights. They're really good guests. Lots of good stuff on here. Trends in the housing market was a huge hit. Lots of replay on that one. So I did a few videos. I've been digging up a few older archival videos on my channel that have less than 10 views. So I've been actually bringing them back, like Karma's Real. Today I put up I'm a Hypocritical Dog, and then just me talking about Mike in the Night tonight. And I'm sorry I am early, but we're going to go through that time where I start and continue through, right? So this is the Mike in the Night pre-show, if you want to call it the Mike in the Night pre-show, if you guys want to say that, right? Australian dollar crash, gold heading north, nothing could stop gold, moving back to England from an email from somebody, and then Canadian rail blockades. 2030 Vancouver Olympic bid. That's just going to bankrupt the city even further. I don't think you can make money off the Olympics. I don't know. I don't know anything. So don't count on me. So housing crisis, New Zealand economic takeover, the dangers of co-ownership. Australia is in a new dark age. Condo developer foreclosure. $2,300 one bedroom rental. That's considered normal now, by the way, in the West, if you're in an English-speaking country. The American Economic Truth by Lord Humongous. And then we got Morning Coffee with Mike and all kinds of other cool stuff on the channel. Thanks for joining. And guys, don't forget to click the join button here, be part of the channel, and get all these cool emojis, and be part of the gang. Anyways, Mike in the Night mug. It's a secret how this got into my possession before I even placed an order. I'll get you guys up to speed with that in a couple here. And guys, message me on Facebook if you need. There's a fake one that looks exactly the same, guys. Someone went out of their way to download this and make it. You could tell the difference because mine has 116,000 followers on it. The other one has 3. So you'll know which one to follow. And I'm also on Instagram if you guys want to follow. I'll give you guys my Instagram. I just post pictures of my ugly mug on there. So I'm going to post that right now real quick so you guys can see that. There it is. I'm on Instagram. And if you want to shoot me a tip in the PayPal jar, go ahead and do that, guys. All right. Mike in the Night. What is going on, everybody? All right. So we got, 46 people watching. That's great. Superhero Reviews is in the house. Thank you for joining us. We got no music in the pre-show. Yeah, I loaded the song in the pre-show, and when 9 o'clock hits, we'll put the anthem on again. I'll be taking care of that. And then we got government still has few tricks up their sleeves before this collapse in Canada. 0 interest rates, complete open borders, getting rid of the housing stress test. Yeah, that's exactly what's happening right now as we speak. David Xavier's in the house. You are way early. Yeah, we're gonna go right through, guys. We're going right through. We're gonna tunnel through. So we had somebody fly in from Manhattan. That's here. It's gonna be on the show later. So I was watching your 2019 video, Laugh Out Loud, and that's his David Xavier there. Xavier, 26 Gunter ZERP bailouts, the stimulus checks. Okay. Let's get back to some news, guys. Come on, news. What we got from our friends over at Zero Hedge from Tyler Durden. Remember what Tyler Durden used to say? The things that you own end up owning you, right? All right, let's go. South Korea reports 123 new corona cases, rising total 556. Death toll hits 4. So remember what happened. Anything that China tells you, it just goes in one ear, out the other, and you just like, yeah, sure, and that's it. So now we're going to start getting the new reports from Korea, from the Philippines, from Japan, from Italy, from Russia, from everywhere. They're going to tell us what's going on. Why? Because these countries aren't scared to ask for help, right? Unfriendly skies. Southwest Airlines wants you to call out bad behavior. Behold the green scam here and the most popular ESG fund holdings. Watch out for those funds, guys. The U.S. is world leader in bioweapons research, production, and use against mankind. That's nothing new there. Google says apps no longer work on new Huawei iPhones. Warner users not to sideload. Okay, China was called a primary target. Then we got Nevada. Sanders wins Nevada. What did I say a week and a half ago? Sanders will win Nevada. I said it. Don't make me bring the video up because I can. It's all recorded. Who is funding the anti-Bernie Sanders super PAC? I think we know it's Hill Dog, probably. Researchers find 61.5% of coronavirus patients with severe pneumonia won't survive. So we'll open that. We'll take a look at that tonight. Turkish-backed, jihadists to down Russian jet. Yeah, the Turks and the Turks are playing with fire. You don't play with the bear. Once you start poking that bear comes out. Let me tell you, man. You know, I got a friend named Jared the Bear, by the way. Anyways, 401k millionaires surged to record level under Trump. And Luongo, we don't need a ministry of truth to protect us from the bad people. Libya asks U.S. to establish military base to combat a Russian presence. Uh-oh, there we go. More. Oh, whoa. New COVID-19 quarantine. Will you be financially prepared? This is a good one. Let's open this and take a look at this. I want to bring this up real quick, guys. I want to bring up a little bit of Italy here real quick. So we got Google open here by our sides here. Unfortunately, my wife's not here with us tonight. She's like with the kids. My wife knows everything, so she's not here. So we're just going to have to use Google. Italy coronavirus. All right, what's happening in Italy? And we'll talk about gold, guys. I promise we'll talk about gold. I promise. Coronavirus. Italy imposes strict lockdown in outbreak hotspots. So of all countries, and I mean, China is, 7,800, maybe 8,000 kilometers from Italy? Okay, let's throw a bet down. Let's throw a bet down. Well, it depends how you travel, right? It depends to what border. Okay, Italy to China. All right, options. Walking. All right. So let's say by car. We got to do by car because, sorry, we can't take you there. All right, let's look at our 1,000 kilometers. So that's legends right here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yeah, I think I'm close. Anyways, that doesn't matter. So where did that article go? Where did I put you, sweetheart? Where are you? Did I actually close the window? Oh, here it is. No, maybe it's back. Let's go back. So we got this problem with you are walking through one of several. We got audio here. Where is it? All right, let's pause this before we get flagged. Where did that go? There it is. Italy has introduced extraordinary measures to tackle the spread of the biggest outbreak of the new coronavirus in Europe. So this is what's happening right now, and I think it's 54,000 on lockdown. So 76,000. No, that's the total. How much are 50,000 people in town in the northern regions have been asked to stay at home by authorities. So there's a lot of someone sent me a photo. It's on my Facebook of just some handwritten signs of local corner stores and like 7-Eleven-ish stuff with signs saying, due to the outbreak in Italian, saying in Italian, we are closed until further notice, right? Okay, so let's get back to the comments. It's almost 8 o'clock, and I got something very important to give you guys tonight. I got a very special treat. So we got Lord Humongous. Good, my Syrian. Oh, so Layla is Lord Humongous, how are you? And Lord Humongous responds and says, good, my Syrian queen, and you. And then Mikey Jenkins says, how many white people have died of cerveza? I don't know, boss. I mean, if we break it down by creed, culture, color, or ethnicity, I'm not sure. We could look into it, though, and see who's who and what is what, because that does play a factor on gene pools. Like, that's actually a very good question, I believe it or not. Lord Humongous, W. Pizzit's 1300 century Italy was the first country to receive the Black Plague. They received it, but I think it came through the Mongols when they were throwing bodies. Long story. Anyways. Anyways, I can't take it anymore, guys. I can't take this anymore. I got something for you guys. We got Jake Marin, my man in the house. We got Ed Hutch in the house. We got BBOT in the house. Tonight's a special night, guys. We're almost at 8 o'clock. So what I'm gonna do, guys, I'm gonna turn this show over, and I'm gonna fix this for you guys right now as we speak. Oh, let me fix that. All right, here we go. He's gonna take the chair. I'm gonna get lost.
Well, hi, Supreme Cannon. Some of you have seen me already, obviously. So the bad news is I won't be calling in tonight, but that's a break for some of you. Mike asked me to come and help out tonight. I just happened to be in town, so here I am. Nice to see you. So, I'll put on my goggles. Let's have a look here. Italy imposes strict lockdown and outbreak hotspots. Remember what I said last week, Mike, about an economic STD?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, there you go. You have an outbreak in China, and less than 2 months later, there's dead people in Italy. This was inevitable. Something was going to happen sooner or later. We thought it would be monetary. We thought it would be some kind of economic, explosion. Well, apparently this is the trigger that sets off the powder keg. I don't know, and neither do you. But the response is that zero hedge. Are you financially prepared for something like this? Having to go home and stay there for a while. Well, there's not panic in the streets. Ironically enough, it's everybody and their dog's fleas having to get off the streets and get inside and stay out of the way, either to prevent getting this corona cerveza bug, let's call it, or not to give it to other people, right? Like, this is something that no one was prepared for. This was completely out of left field. 61.5% of coronavirus patients with severe pneumonia won't survive. So what percentage are going to get pneumonia? What makes them the most vulnerable to it? I think being older, Mike. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Probably having a weakened immune system, right? So you've got a lot of people who have had immune deficient disorders, or maybe they're HIV positive, or they got something else. We don't know. We don't actually know what immune capabilities will be diminished enough that this thing can literally take you out. We're not sure. We're not getting a lot of straight answers. All we know is it's spreading like wildfire. And like I said before, it's like a viral version of Johnny Appleseed. Like, you're spreading seed everywhere you go, and you don't even know you've got it. And the people that you gave it to don't know you have it. It's going to be very difficult to pinpoint where it's going from place to place. I think the media they're doing the best they can, because if they sound the alarm too quickly and it turns out to be a dud, they're going to lose whatever credibility they have left. And they don't have a lot, at least to half the population now. So they don't really have a choice. Where governments are concerned, it's the same thing. If you engender some kind of supply chain breakdown or a literal economic collapse, when everything is balancing on a quaking marsh as it is, over something that turns out to be nothing, you're going to be the bad guy no matter what. So they don't have a lot of choice. Where the Chinese are concerned, yeah, they have to be draconian. They don't have a choice. They, like I said last week, this got away on them. By the time somebody made it plain that this was a crisis, yeah, there you go. That map had cute little red spots here and there on it just a couple of weeks ago, didn't it? Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. 78,766, and for all we know, there's a couple of zeros missing from that number. We don't know, and I'm not trying to be apocalyptic. This is something that most people are going to survive, as far as we can tell.
We were gauging South Korea for a while, remember?
Yeah.
And it was at 52?
Yeah. So now it's at 600. I've got to put my goggles back on. 556 confirmed cases in South Korea. Now that assumes that the unlimited availability of test kits, which is not a given, And in some cases, it appears that they've had false positives as well. False negatives, so people walk out with the virus, and false positives of people who were told they had it and went home or isolated themselves and it turns out didn't have it. So good for them, but still, it must have been a little scary for them and their families for a while. Honestly, most of them are still in mainland China, but you look at the globe, you look at where this thing has gone, and even if people completely isolate themselves, for a lot of them, all they had to do is walk through a Walmart, and it's too late. It's everywhere. And again, we're not talking the Andromeda strain. We're talking about something that most people are going to survive. But the fatality rate, depending on the demographic it's going through, could be upwards of 10%. That's apocalyptic. That's a bad scene. So we'll go back to the cost of COVID-19 quarantine. Will you be financially prepared? This is something that we've been hammering on. Mike's been hammering on this for a long time, obviously, and for the last year or so, I've been participating. You want some money put away. You want some supplies put away. And it's not necessarily for a monetary collapse. It's some kind of economic disruption like this, where you need to go home and stay there for a while. And in this case, it's a real deal. It's not because there's mobs of zombies on the street. It's because either you're trying to keep from getting this cerveza thing on you, or you're trying to keep from giving it to someone else, which is just a good neighbor policy. As the world tries frantically to contain a rapidly spreading outbreak of COVID-19, schools, public venues, tourist attractions, and workplaces are being closed in an attempt to keep even more people from contracting the illness. Quarantines and self-isolation protocols are also being instituted across the globe for those who may have been exposed. How many quarantine spaces realistically are there in the world? Any idea? You probably don't know either, hey? No. Look at the number of hospitals the Chinese are building. They're building all these new hospitals, these field hospitals, like the first couple that they slammed together, those big white Legos. It's not just a matter of, they're saying it's under control. Well, what if that was true? Well, they still got a lot of sick people. They know a month from now they're going to have even more sick people. They got to have somewhere to go. So they need isolation centers. Maybe they have contained it. If you put 750,000 people, 10% of the world's population in lockdown for a month, yeah, you're gonna whack this thing in the shins somewhat. You're gonna prune it back a little bit anyway.
Okay, let them know this is the top 10 worst pandemics in recorded history.
Okay, here are the outbreak, the 10 worst pandemics in history by staff. I guess we'll be the staff tonight. Mm-hmm. Go ahead and scroll that, my friend.
Right here.
HIV/AIDS pandemic at its peak, 2005 to 2012. Now, this was definitely an STD because the first identified in the Congo. It's killed 36 million people. Blood transfusions, that's true.
Yeah,
that's true. There were lots of people because there was no identification for it.
Bear aspirin?
Yeah, Bayer aspirin.
Yep, they were caught. I don't know. I could show you to you.
Okay.
A lot of people won't believe me.
That's news to me. Yeah, I didn't know that. Well, that's the thing. There were ways that it wasn't properly screened for, and it killed innocent people. So that's not a moral judgment. It's just that's how most of it was transmitted. Was either dirty needles or unusual cases here. Yeah, it paid millions in HIV infection cases, just not in English. Okay, well, that makes sense. HIV contaminated blood products to hemophiliacs, thousands of whom later died of AIDS. Yeah, so that's the thing. They either weren't screening for it properly or they weren't aware that it existed, at least at first.
Do you remember the AIDS scare back in the day?
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Everybody was just scared to touch anybody, and it was just... Wow.
Yeah. There was Bob Rivers' Twisted Tunes. You remember those? They used to write the satire songs. There was actually one about, hello, I love you, let's get tested for AIDS. Mm-hmm. You had to wait for the results to come back. It was actually getting to the point where they were proposing that when you met someone in a nightclub or at a bar, you had a copy of your latest test results that you could show the nice people so that they could decide if they were going to proceed with you or not. Kind of like getting consent now, right? Same idea. You've got a whole triplicate paperwork you got to fill out to hit up somebody at the club anymore.
Okay, read it out.
Okay, HIV, death toll, 36 million. Next, flu pandemic, 1968. There was a 1 million death toll from influenza. Category 2 flu pandemic, sometimes referred to as the Hong Kong flu. It was caused by the H3N2 strain of the influenza A virus, a genetic offshoot of the H2N2 subtype. From the first reported case on July 13, 1968 in Hong Kong, it took only 17 days before outbreaks of the virus were reported in Singapore and Vietnam, and within 3 months had spread to the Philippines, India, Australia, Europe, and the United States. Sounds familiar. While the 1968 pandemic had a comparatively low mortality rate, 5%, it still resulted in the deaths of more than 1 million people, including 500,000 residents of Hong Kong, approximately 15% of its population at the time. Mm-hmm. Good Lord.
Yep, I didn't even know about that one. Here's this one.
I didn't know about that one, the Hong Kong flu. The Asian flu, 56 to 58. Sorry, I got to put the goggles back on. Asian flu was a pandemic outbreak of influenza A. Death toll, 2 million. 2 million. Yeah, this is a product of travel, international trade, all of those wonderful things that make, that's why we have bananas and kiwis to eat. All those things are good. Unfortunately, it also results in a situation like this where something gets into the air and it travels around the world at jet aircraft speed. Mm-hmm. And 1 million people can be dead in a year from something that originated on the other side of the globe. Mm-hmm. It's a hazard. It's as long as there's any kind of trade, as long as there's any incentive to trade, this is going to be a hazard. And unfortunately, we've reached a point where the trade has become a little too, quote unquote, promiscuous. And now this kind of thing it could be a regular occurrence. We hope not. There's going to be a backlash anyway. Asian flu, 2 million. Asian flu, pandemic outbreak of influenza A, H2N2 again. I'll just skim through that. 2-year spree. It went from the Chinese province of Guizhou to Singapore, Hong Kong, and the U.S. Estimates for the death toll vary depending on the source, but the WHO places the final tally at about 2 million deaths. And
69,000 in the U.S. alone.
Yeah. Yeah, that's disastrous. That would be considered a public health crisis in the U.S. if 70,000 people died of the influenza today. So that's a particularly bad one. Now, the Spanish flu and
the flu pandemic,
the flu pandemic, it didn't originate in Spain. That was just the first place that reported it, as I understand correctly. Death toll, 20 to 50 million. So between 1918 and 1920, just after the end of the Great War, which of course resulted in a lot of disease and there was a lot of death and a lot of people moving from place to place around the world. It was a global war.
I think it's in the trenches. It was so dirty.
The trenches were dirty. It was a nasty experience, yeah. And there were probably a lot of unburied corpses that didn't help. Mm-hmm. So death toll, 20 to 50 million. So between 1918 and 1920. Important to note.
What was the population of the world in 1918?
I don't think it was 2 billion.
Yeah, I don't think so.
Yeah, I think it was $1 billion to $1.5 billion, I believe, at the time. Yeah. Between 1918 and 1920, a disturbingly deadly outbreak of influenza tore across the globe, infecting over a third of the world's population and ending the lives of 20 to 50 million people. Now, that's over 2 years. What separated the 18 flu pandemic from others was the victims, where influenza had always previously only killed juveniles and the elderly or already weakened patients. It had begun striking down hardy and completely healthy young adults while leaving children and those with weaker immune systems still alive. That's true. That's a strange one about that. There were a lot of demobilizing soldiers that were coming back from the wars who were 19, 20 years old. And they'd get a headache in the morning and by supper time they were dead. Just like that. Over. Why it would work that way and that randomly, I can't imagine. It just seems to me that there must have been something about a stronger immune system that gave them a stronger reaction. Because it doesn't necessarily mean children and those with weakened immune systems weren't full of the stuff. It's just for whatever reason, it didn't react with their immune system because they had less of one. Someone mentioned the idea of a cytokine storm a couple of Saturdays ago, like from 5G or from the vaccinations or that sort of thing. So maybe that's probably what it was. It was something along that line. Someone with a more robust immune system would be more vulnerable than someone who maybe the bug just filled them up for a while and hung out and then it just died off. Hard to say.
And then we got
Okay, we got two more. Here.
The sixth cholera pandemic from 1910 to 1911.
Okay.
So that kind of trails into that.
Yeah, it does. Yeah,
it trails in. So
yeah,
800,000.
you've got another outbreak.
Is it possible that this could have been a mutation of this and then come back as this?
I think they're a different thing entirely. I'm not sure that cholera is actually a virus.
That's like a draconian, like middle age virus. Like,
well, yeah, it's cholera's. Yeah, most plagues I think were cholera in the old days, other than the bubonic plague. I have no idea what the hell that thing was. Mm-hmm. So that one was 800,000, and that was the beginning of the 20th century. The sixth cholera pandemic originated in India, like most of the other ones did, before spreading to the Middle East, North Africa, Eastern Europe, and Russia. Yeah, public hygiene is a problem. It's an accelerant for this stuff. There's no doubt. There's railroads in India where they've got something called, I think it's called feculation, where there's so much human feces on the tracks that they're literally starting to rust apart. Culture is a powerful accelerant for disease too. You can remember hearing stories about how people lived in Europe in the Middle Ages, Mike. Mm-hmm. And they threw their chamber pots out in the street in the morning and their kitchen garbage, and there was pigs running around eating it all. It must have been pretty gamey most of the time. Unfortunately, it was just absolutely it was like a bucket of gasoline just waiting for a match. And so something like that should not be possible today unless it was weaponized. Public hygiene was becoming a concern by the beginning of the 20th century. So something like that originating in India, and then it made it into Eastern Europe and Russia. Only 11 deaths occurred in the U.S. Yeah, and there was isolation. It was quarantine. That's why I said what the Chinese doing right now, there's no problem with it. The only problem is that they should have done it about a month to 6 weeks earlier than they did. But there's political and economic consequences for that too. And if you're wrong, the problem is if you do that and you don't have an outbreak, then you look like you were panicking for nothing. The best possible outcome is this thing doesn't happen, but if it doesn't happen, then someone's going to accuse you of overreacting. We're talking about communist China. Being wrong could get you shot. Yeah. So this kind of thing, right?
Being right could get you shot.
Being right could get you shot too. Yeah. Anything could get you shot. So sometimes it's better to just wait and find someone else to blame it on, right?
Lower Scratchers weighing in saying more South Korea cases in the coronavirus in the last 2 days. So more South Korea. Yeah, we covered that. Brother John has said Supreme Canon, but he sounds a bit different. Must be the mic. Nice to put a face to the great voice.
Thank you, sir.
All right, let's keep going.
I got the face for radio. I got the voice for radio. So I've got the double package. I'm good to go here.
Double package.
Double package. You betcha.
All right, here we go. The flu pandemic, 1889 to 1890.
Yeah. Death toll 1 million. Cause influenza. Originally the Asiatic flu, or Russian flu, as it was called, this strain was thought to be an outbreak of the influenza A virus subtype H2N2, though recent discoveries have instead found the cause to be the influenza A virus subtype H3N8. The first cases were observed in May 1889 in 3 separate and distant locations: Bukhara in Central Asia, Turkestan, Athabasca in northwestern Canada, and Greenland. Rapid population growth of the 19th century, specifically in urban areas, only helped the flu spread, and before long the outbreak had spread across the globe. And that's traveling at steamship speed.
Right.
Though it was the first true epidemic in the area of bacteriology and much was learned from it, in the end, the 1889 to 1890 flu pandemic claimed the lives of over 1 million individuals. Sadly, most public hygiene, most of the things we know about infectious diseases and their prevention and their containment were paid for in human life. Wow. Just like everything else. These are millions of people that could have been alive today. Well, they wouldn't have been alive, obviously, from that time. But there are a lot of people that, their descendants aren't with us today because they didn't catch things like this in time. Some of it was neglect. A lot of it was ignorance. They didn't know. You had to learn. But by this time, you had a scientific establishment that was working hard to identify things like this. And there were probably still distant, ancestral memories of the Black Death. Certainly it was regularly taught history in most schools. It probably isn't now just because it's been so long ago. Yeah, but there's a lot to learn. The third cholera pandemic, 1852 to 1860. This was during the times of the
Napoleonic.
Napoleon the Third.
Yeah, the
That'd
third.
be the reign of Napoleon the Third. Yeah, this was when India was part of the British Empire, the Raj. Death toll 1 million. Cause cholera. Oh boy, here we go again. Generally considered the most deadly of the 7 cholera pandemics, the third major outbreak of cholera in the 19th century lasted from 1852 to 1860. Like the first and second pandemics, the third cholera pandemic originated in India, spreading from the Ganges River Delta before tearing through Asia, Europe, North America, and Africa, and ending the lives of over 1 million people. British physician John Snow, while working in a poor area of London, tracked cases of cholera.
Snow?
John Snow.
John Snow.
Yeah.
All right, continue.
All right, I'll continue. While working in a poor area of London, tracked cases of cholera and eventually succeeded in identifying contaminated water as the means of transmission for the disease. Unfortunately, the same year as his discovery, 1854, went down as the worst year of the pandemic, in which 23,000 people died in Great Britain. That would be a national scandal now. That would be a public disaster. Death was at your right shoulder the whole time in those days because of working conditions, because of sanitation or the lack thereof, the crushingly hard work that most people had to do to survive. You can see a lot of parallels from those days in today, and you could see that there are a lot of people in other parts of the world that are living and working in conditions similar to what our direct ancestors were working in during the beginning of industrialization. I'm hoping that the outcome for them will be similar to what it's been for us, rather than the other way around, where we wind up finding ourselves back in that situation. I'm optimistic. I'm guardedly optimistic, because we can always vote them out or shoot them if it came to that. Can I say that on this channel?
Yes, you can.
Once. I'll use the word shoot once. Good enough. Okay.
Okay, let's go. The big one.
All right.
Elizabeth, this is the big one.
This is the big one. The big one, Elizabeth. The Black Death, 1346 to 1353. Yeah.
That's almost like a quarter of the world's population.
This is a change. This changed everything. Death toll 75 to 200 million. Caused the bubonic plague. From 1346 to 1353, an outbreak of the plague ravaged Europe, Africa, and Asia, with an estimated death toll between 75 and 200 million people. Thought to have originated in Asia, the plague most likely jumped continents via the fleas living on the rats that so frequently lived aboard merchant ships. Ports being major urban centers at the time were the perfect breeding ground for the rats and fleas, and thus the insidious bacterium flourished, devastating 3 continents in its wake. Yeah, an absolute tragedy. After that time, the word quarantine comes from the Latin for 40 days. When ships came into Venice, merchant ships from anywhere in the world, there was an island that they had to anchor near for 40 days before they could come into port and unload. And that was to ensure that they weren't bringing sickness with them. And if there was sickness, then they could deal with it before the ships were unloaded. That's a hell of a long time to be sitting in harbor without moving on. But that's the cost of doing business sometimes. And people got used to it because they got really, really tired of losing so many people to things that were preventable. Obviously, that would get tiresome really quickly. And now, for the population of the world in the 14th century, that's a catastrophe. But
that's like a quarter of the world's population.
It's something like a quarter of the world's population at that time, yeah. Yeah, no joke at all. Absolutely disastrous. But this, in many ways, would proportionally have been worse. The Plague of Justinian, 1541, or 541 to 542 AD.
25 million.
25 million. And
that could be half the world's population.
That could be, a large part of it.
541.
Easily 10% of the world's population at that time. Bubonic plague again. Thought to have killed perhaps half the population of Europe. The Plague of Justinian was an outbreak of the bubonic plague that afflicted the Byzantine Empire and Mediterranean port cities, killing up to 25 million people in its year-long reign of terror. Generally regarded as the first recorded incident of the bubonic plague, the Plague of Justinian left its mark on the world, killing up to a quarter, up to a quarter of the population of the eastern Mediterranean and devastating the city of Constantinople, where at its height it was killing an estimated 5,000 people per day and eventually resulting in the deaths of 40%.
5,000 people per day?
Yeah, eventually resulting in the deaths of 40% of the city's population. Yeah.
5,000 deaths per day?
5,000 deaths per day in one city. I don't think you see death rates that again until like the siege of Leningrad. There were probably that many people dying of starvation and frostbite during the siege of Leningrad. A disastrous.
And the last but not least?
Yeah, the Antonine Plague. Yeah, we're almost done here. This litany of horror and sorrow is almost over.
Hold on. This one here is one of the worst only because at 165 AD, 5 million of the world's population is a lot. In 165 AD.
Definitely, yeah.
It hits harder because
yeah,
we probably had a population.
Well, Rome and its territories at that time, like Rome and its immediate surroundings, had a population of close to 4 million. Mm-hmm. It was a superpower. Rome and the area around it was a superpower all by itself. Of course, it was vulnerable to fire, disease, and all kinds of nonsense, but they had actual sanitation. So they had at least a snowball's chance of preventing the worst things from happening. The greatest medical breakthroughs are better nutrition and the sewer pipe. So 95% of the problems that you have in life, you get rid of those two problems, and you're golden. Usually
98 million was the population.
98 million.
So 5 million of that is huge.
Yeah, that's 5% of the world's population. 5% of the world's population today would be what, Mike? It'd be about 400 million people, wouldn't it? A 20th?
Yeah, about that much.
Yeah, let's not have that. What do you think? Are you with me there?
I'm with you.
Solidarity, people. Let's not have 5% of the world's population die this time. I'm good with that. The Antonine Plague, 165 AD. Death toll, 5 million, cause unknown. Also known as the Plague of Galen. The Antonine Plague was an ancient pandemic that affected Asia Minor, Egypt, Greece, and Italy, and is thought to have been either smallpox or measles, though the true cause is still unknown. This unknown disease was brought back to Rome by soldiers, there's imperialism again, returning from Mesopotamia around 165 AD. Unknowingly, they had spread a disease which would end up killing over 5 million people and decimating the Roman army. Well.
That's huge.
There's a difference between tourism and this kind of thing, right? Economic imperialism or military imperialism, it's always a matter of you're going to go take somebody else's stuff or go live among them.
All right. So let's continue here. Where were you? Right here. You go through the summary if you want.
Okay. We're going to go through the summary quickly. Thanks for bearing with us. We're going to try to find some light sides to this too, guys. We're going to Gold's up.
Yeah. Woo!
Yeah, that's right.
Can you do a woo?
Woo!
Yeah.
How's that?
Yeah.
It's okay. That's better. Yeah. That's why I type it.
Woo!
Yeah. Woo. South Korea reports 123 new cases. 1 new death.
That's huge.
Yeah. For that many to be confirmed in, what, a week?
Not even.
That's less than a week.
That's like 48 hours.
Yeah. And remember, these are the ones that are showing symptoms for the most part. They're the ones that are going to get tested, which speaks nothing of who's walking around carrying the cerveza bug today, right now. Mm-hmm. Italy announces 79 cases, declares national emergency. Northern Italy put on lockdown. There you go. That's the time to go on lockdown. But the reason that they have the political, ability to do that is because of the disaster unfolding in China right now. Otherwise, they might have reasons to hold off until they got a more conclusive evidence. Japan cases triple in a week to 121. Japan confirms seriously ill patient in Tokyo. Not good news for that person. Hubei reports daily numbers. Chinese scientists find virus in urine, which is usually sterile.
Yeah,
if I recall.
It's sulfur.
Yeah, that's so not cool. That's not cool at all. Experts propose 27-day quarantine. Say 14 days, likely not long enough. Cases outside China go exponential. Absolutely no reason to doubt that would happen. 32 UK and European citizens arrived back in UK on evacuation flight. Outbreak reported in South Korean psychiatric court. WHO team visits Wuhan. Will give Monday press conference. The conference from Ground Zero. Iran reports 10 new cases. Deaths climb to 6.
All right, let's stop right there.
Okay.
Look at the ratio. 10 cases, 6 deaths. What? WTF?
Yeah. Well,
that's serious.
That's not total cases, though. That's cases active to the total. But
10 reported cases,
yeah.
but 6 died?
Yeah.
That's a big deal. Because that ratio does not look like
it's
other countries.
It's a huge deal. Yeah, the way they wrote that, it's not a good look, but I'm not sure how many total cases there are in Iran right now. If there's a couple of hundred, then 6 is...
right now.
It's still a bad number. These are people that wouldn't be dead if not for the surveillance bug.
Let's find out right now. Iran.
Yeah. Let's head over to Iran.
Macau, France.
Yeah, you might have to. Glorious Persia. Where is it here?
Iran's right here.
Yeah, Iran's there. Confirmed 28, deaths 5.
That's a very bad... Nobody recovered.
Yeah.
No one recovered.
Not so far, no.
So, 28 to 5 ratio, that's dangerous.
Oh, that's a bad scene. That's a really bad scene, yeah. Yeah, it's between 5 and 8% fatality.
We're going to get German Instincts on the phone right now.
Hello, how you doing, Mike?
Hey, fella. It's Supreme.
Hey, how you doing, Supreme?
Good. I'm on. I'm hosting Mike's show tonight for a little while.
He's commenting.
Yeah,
he's commenting. Okay, good.
So yeah, no, there was a leak we had from Iran.
Yeah.
And a doctor said there was 20 people already dead in his clinic.
Okay.
This was days ago, and then he said,
where was that? Sorry.
This is in Iran.
In Iran. Okay. Okay.
So his doctor was basically explaining that he'd already had 20 people dead in his clinic.
Okay.
His relative had already died, and then he was telling the person on the phone basically to barricade themselves in their house, don't go outside, blah, blah, blah. It was like pretty much panicking, right?
Right.
And then there was a bunch of people in the Middle East commenting and whatnot. So, and this was the very same day that we had news that Iran said that 2 new patients, and then there was 2 dead people. Okay. So what we believe, and then fast forward 2 more days, and then Iran is now saying it's all across the country. And then fast forward a couple hours, and then we find out that someone that was coming back from Iran, vacating or visiting home in Iran, and confirmed to have the disease in BC. So what I'm basically leading at here is that there's a high probability that the Iranian government is covering it up right now because they're going through election cycle, and they don't want to shut that down. Not to mention the fact that how could it be so widespread from Tehran all over the country, and then so all it takes is someone to visit Iran right now, and they're coming back with the disease. I don't know what the statistical chances of that happening.
That seems pretty unlikely, doesn't it?
Yeah, and we also believe that
Iran shuts schools. Oh,
tell them to hold up. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Hold on for a second, Leaf. Iran shuts schools, cultural centers as coronavirus kills 6. Coronavirus deaths in Iran count for the most in any country outside China.
Go ahead, Leaf.
Yeah. Go ahead, Leaf.
So, we're believing that either 2 things could be happening because we know this particular disease targets ACE2 receptors. To AC2 receptors. I'm mispronouncing it, but I digress. It targets that.
Yeah.
Asian males have a large chunk of that, and it affects females less. But what data we were gathering is Islamic people, Persian people.
Right.
Yeah, ACE2 receptors. Yeah, Middle Eastern people, Arabs, they have even higher amount of that. So there's a possibility this virus is more lethal to them than it would be the Asians. Or the second the theory right now is it's mutated. The one in Iran is mutated already, and it's much more lethal.
Okay, I'm just going to interject for a second, Leif. Okay, from the Jerusalem Post, Iran's government and media lied about coronavirus outbreak, riots erupt. The quotation is, even the hospital medical staff, some of whom are infected with the coronavirus, are terrified.
Yes, he and
Sorry, go
Iran.
ahead.
And now let's go over to Korea. I don't know if people have been paying attention, but there was a church that basically had just last year set up a branch, a cult, right? It's not. I'm not even going to call the thing a church. It's a cult.
Right, yeah. There's a lot of charismatic churches over there. It's
No,
kind of
this is
Pentecostal times 1,000.
the same cult that spread the disease from Korea that's
Yeah.
causing all this explosion now. Also, just built a church in Wuhan last year, and then they deleted that from their website. Now, CNN and mainstream news has already confirmed this and picked it up. I'm just throwing that out there, as we don't know. Like, there's another theory out there that maybe this is where the accidental release came from the cult.
Well,
Maybe they.
Okay, I'm just gonna interject for a second. From CNBC, Health and Science, coronavirus live updates. China reports 648 new cases, infections in South Korea spike. That's updated 16 minutes ago.
So in Korea, they had a couple of cases, but then all of a sudden they had a ginormous spike, and then jumped from, I believe it was like 20 or 18 all the way up another 30. For the last 5 days, it's been basically doubling every day. We're expecting there to be probably about 800 projected by tomorrow.
Yeah.
So it started out as around 18, then it jumped by 30, then it jumped by another 60, then it jumped from like 120 to all the way to 200 plus, then 200, we reached 400. Now today we're sitting at 550, but we're thinking, like I said, by tomorrow it'll probably be around 800. It's doubling on a daily, and it's rapidly it's rapidly increasing way faster on that cruise ship.
It
So
does
there's your-
seem to be spreading like a gasoline fire there. Sorry to interrupt you for a second, Leaf. All times below Beijing time. This is a live blog. 12:05 p.m. Beijing time. Man in Hubei didn't show symptoms until 27 days later. Hubei's government on Saturday said a 70-year-old man did not show any symptoms until 27 days later, though he was infected with the coronavirus. That suggests the incubation period could be longer than 14 days. Well, obviously.
Let's go back to 40 days, like you said.
Yeah, we're going back to 40 days. Quarantine, 40-day quarantine. Everybody go home for 40 days. Who in the entire developed world is ready to
Originally,
do
they said 7
that? The
days.
answer is small, I'm sure.
Originally, it was 7 days quarantine.
7 days,
Then
yeah.
they upped it to 14.
Yeah.
Then this month we found out 21, but we just recently had a reported case of someone getting infected who showed no signs for 34 days.
Yeah. So we're to the point now. I have heard someone throw a number around of someone carrying it for 42 days. So 28 would be an absolute minimum, I would think.
This thing's
28 days. And even then, you've probably got some kind of follow-up testing to make sure you're clear of it. But even when you're clear of it, there's no point in going back outside unless everyone else around you is clear of it too. Because it sounds like if you get it again, it's going to hammer you twice as hard as it might have the first time. So that's a hazard as well. Yeah, we're going to, I don't know. I'm standing on the outside looking in, obviously, on a lot of this stuff myself. But I think that by the time this becomes a full raging crisis around the world, they're going to tell everyone to go home for 40 days. Like, literally get off the street. How are you going to do that, though? That's the problem. And how would you enforce it?
Martial law.
Martial law, yeah.
Welding the doors
Correct.
shut.
Well, yeah, welding doors shut, right, yeah. Yeah, the problem is you've got people now that are not used to, you can't get them to do things that they normally would do. And now you're going to tell them to stay inside. We're not prepared, I think, to exercise that kind of violence or potential violence in this part of the world anymore.
The Army's done it in Iraq. They'll do it here, no problem. That's not an issue.
Yeah.
But what was it? The CDC has already said containment and chances of containment are already low. The CDC, the American CDC, doesn't believe that they can contain it. We have the FBI this week said they want, and within 7 days they're mandating private companies give us masks, blah de blah, hand sanitizer and supplies.
Yep.
Within a week. They're not asking. They're not saying we're going to purchase. We're saying we are requisiting off your private company, have it in a week or else. This is the FBI.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
breaking loose right now, and the government agencies in the U.S. are scrambling. The U.S. military is prepping right as we speak. The CDC, like I said, they don't believe that they can contain this thing anyways. They don't think it's going to be contained, and they do expect outbreaks.
I'm wondering if they're getting to the point where they'll say, well, we're going to forget about trying to contain it and just prepare for a mass casualty event instead. Is this the one we wanted to read here, Mike?
Just read this headline.
Okay, all right. This is from Al Jazeera. Iraq extends ban on Iran arrivals amid coronavirus fears. And from the New York Times, coronavirus spreads as new cases double in South Korea. So this is getting to be front page mainstream news, that there is something spreading like a wildfire. The funny thing is, I'm not seeing lineups of people going to get supplies yet. So either they don't know, because who reads the New York Times anymore anyway,
or they
right?
think their government's going to save them.
Or they think their government's going to save them, right? Or maybe those aromatherapy and essential oils will solve the problem. And I'm not saying that they can't solve problems, but the best way to avoid a punch is just not be there. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Coronavirus. This is from the Guardian, the good old Grani ad. Coronavirus. Northern Italian towns close schools and business. Yeah, Lombardy and Veneto regions cluster of infections.
Have you heard about the plague train? That's what they're calling it now on the internet. They're calling it because they're calling the Diamond Princess that was a plague ship.
Yeah.
Now they're saying there's an Italian plague train where everyone's trapped on the train.
Oh.
Which is even worser conditions and more cross-infection hell.
A plague train. That's beautiful.
Yeah. People were talking about making a meme. They'll replace Corona Chan's face over Thomas the train's face and start spreading that on the internet.
Isn't this fun, guys? It's so much fun.
Well, the thing about it, in this way, these people who are trapped on the train, that's much worse quarantine conditions than your own private cabin on a cruise ship.
Well, obviously,
you're stuck sitting next to somebody.
You're stuck. If you didn't have it, you're going to, and there's nothing you can do about it. It's awful. It's awful. I can't imagine the panic that some of these people are trying to suppress. It's got to be absolutely claustrophobic, because you think you've got something that it might be a sniffle for a day or two and you're gone, or you might not leave the ship alive. It's one or the other, somewhere in that scale, that spectrum. Well, I'm going to feel a little sick for a day or two, or I'm going to be dead, right? 5 to 10% of the time. It's not a matter of using apocalyptic language or a matter of being unnecessarily upsetting. This is serious business. The time to act on this is basically already a couple of weeks ago. So, but today is the next best. We've been telling people to prepare for a long time for all kinds of things, right? Go ahead, Leaf. Sorry.
If you were going to get gas mask and mask, you should have done that 2 weeks ago. Good luck getting that now.
Ideally. Yeah. There's something that, I mean, the thing about the market is, and all of this globalization, is you can rearrange supply chains. There isn't anything that we got from China that we couldn't get from somewhere else in the world or make here. It's just that there's literally no time to retool anything or redirect the container ships. Like we have to work with what we have right now, and that's a problem. Okay, and this is MEAWW. Coronavirus, men more vulnerable to infection than women. Scientists say smoking and poor immunity could be blamed. Well, as a tobacco user of many years, I'm definitely in that group, as no doubt many of you are. Although I'd have to say I'm absolutely amazed at the things that haven't gotten me, because most of us have the immune system of a John Deere tractor in my family, frankly.
They're giving a half truth. Like I already said before, females are at less risk than men, but that doesn't mean that is like that means that percentage difference is like something of a variation of 2%, which is sweet fuck all.
It's nothing. Yeah, it's not going to make any difference. It's still dangerous, no matter who gets it.
It's been really, shall we say, downplaying, and I'll give you an example from actually today.
Okay.
Global News said we have blah 430 cases in Korea, which is a high jump, and it doubled in the last 24 hours. Which would the more honest, truthful answer for the news on this would be it's been doubling every day for 5 days straight. Instead, they just mention, it doubled today. No, it's been doubling for 5 days, actually. So
Yeah.
they're downplaying it, you know what I mean? Because psychologically speaking, that's a much bigger downplay from, think of it in this sense too. If I was a news agent, I would be trying to blow it out of proportion just because I want to get more views, right? So
Right.
there's obviously somewhat of a government mandate on the media to not panic people.
Oh, they're
Because
gonna cap it. Yeah. It's important to remember too, though, where governments are concerned, and I'm by no means a fan of governments of any size, large or small. Okay, I consider them a necessary evil of life, and we don't even have to argue about the libertarians on the stream here. Okay, real quick from Vox: half of South Korea's coronavirus cases are linked to a controversial religious organization. One COVID-19 patient attended Shinjeonji Church of Jesus services while she nursed a fever. Oh boy. Yeah, the problem is where governments are concerned, they get threats of all kinds all the time. Their intelligence services hear about people with bombs or trying to spread, sarin gas or something like that weird cult in Japan 20 years ago. There's all kinds of things they have to deal with, and you just can't take them all seriously. You have to prioritize where you're going to put your attention, right?
yeah, but pretty soon, people are going to get the opportunity to host a level 4 bioweapon in their body, and you can fart on a crowd of people and mass murder.
Yeah, or whiz on them. Yeah, so we won't be attending any scat shows or punk concerts anytime in the next 2-3 months, I'd say, Leaf. You and I will probably stay away from those for a while, and I certainly recommend everybody else do the same. There's so many ways to transmit this thing. Like, you just become radioactive. Like, you become like a walking, talking, devilishly handsome chunk of plutonium, walking around contaminating people. This is not chill. This is really, really serious business. 1/10 of the world's population is locked down at home in China right now. This ain't no flu.
What we need to do to spread the flu is you get a humidifier, spit on it multiple times, and then to just place it somewhere in a public space.
Well, ironically enough, apparently if the air is more humid, it prevents the aerosol from traveling too far. It seems like it's low humidity that actually enables it to travel further when it's airborne or aerosol.
It still spreads in droplet form. So if you were spitting on a humidifier, it would spread like rapid.
Well, yeah. Yeah, I mean, you've got a fan, like literally blowing it out of there. Trump was furious that passengers with coronavirus were brought back to the U.S. I would be too. I'm sure
Canada
he didn't
brought
order it.
everybody here.
Canada brought everybody because we love everybody. Hello. So the cerveza bug is coming to live in Canada.
Among the passengers.
Among the passengers, and I hope it likes poutine and snow. Among the passengers from the Diamond Princess cruise ship who were flown back were 14 American citizens who tested positive for the frigging Andromeda strain. The move took Mr. Trump by surprise. I am reasonably sure that a fly on the wall in that room when he took that call would probably have been killed by sonic boom. Because that's what I'd have done too. The U.S. has military bases all over the world. They did not need to come back to the lower 48, for God's sake. I don't know. Like, it's a big world, but you got to have a place for people that have basically turned, like I said, into walking, talking plutonium for a couple of months. They've got to go somewhere else. They didn't need to come back here. But this runs into a problem too with the size of nation states today. Okay, a place like China, which is a federation of probably 100 different nationalities. Russia, an enormous place, same deal. United States, enough said. Canada, enough said. The Commonwealth, enough said. Okay, massive governments, which supposedly can bring all kinds of protections to bear on you. Unfortunately, what it is a series of silos, all separately funded, that aren't necessarily talking to each other. Okay, Business Insider. Wuhan is scrambling to fill 11 sports centers, exhibition halls, and other local venues with over 10,000 beds to create makeshift coronavirus hospitals. So 11 sports centers. So that's great. I guess Pearl Jam and Boston will be making comeback tours and playing those stadiums since they'll have captive audiences. Won't that be fun? A worker sets up beds at the Hongshan Stadium to convert it into a makeshift hospital. You know what this reminds me of? It reminds me of the last couple of scenes from a TV docu-series that came on about 1983, just after I graduated from high school. It's called The Day After. It was about nuclear war. You ever see that one, Mike?
The only one I saw in that line was Threats.
Threats, yeah.
Did you ever see Threats?
No, I didn't see that
It's
one,
the
no.
same idea what you're talking about.
Yeah, The Day After, anyway. That's how it was. You had this makeshift hospital set up in a school gymnasium and all kinds of burnt and irradiated, messed up people, right? And it was apocalyptic. It was a terrible thing. But these are interesting beds because they all got a desk beside them.
That's
You're
for
missing
homework.
something important.
Okay, yeah, it's for homework. Okay, got it. Yeah, because nothing gets you through the flu like homework, I guess.
Hello?
Yeah. Well, hey, morale, right? Got to keep those grades up.
Can you hear me?
Study differential equation, United State. That's from Twitter. You probably have no idea what I'm talking about, but
All right, we'll let him go.
okay. Well, Leaf, we're going to let you go and take another caller. Thank you very much for your contribution. I'll probably see you on Discord later tonight, pal, or tomorrow. Okay.
Some important things.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay, first part. It's spreading in Iran.
Yes.
The temperature of Iran. A lot of people are saying, "Oh, when the summer hits, it'll die down." Look at Iran. 2, if you look at the amount of cases that China's been pumping out,
Yeah.
why are they building more additional beds in Hubei province? If the numbers are nailing off and the recoveries are shooting up, it's a bunch of that. What I'm basically saying is the Chinese numbers are a load of crap. They're ordering an additional 30,000 beds in Wuhan, yet and they're filling up all of these stadiums.
Right.
Yet the officials are saying it's going downwards, and the recovery rate shooting up, so they should have less need for beds. And then here's another third part that you guys aren't maybe not aware of. Singapore changed the rules on what the definition of recovery is, and the definition in Singapore for recovered is showing no symptoms.
Of course. You can be completely loaded with the virus, but you don't have any symptoms. 2 thumbs
So
up. That's
Singapore,
beautiful.
which
Beautiful.
was being praised recently for their numbers in containment, in reality, they've been fudging and f***ing around with shit from the start, and they're just as bad as everybody else.
Oh my
which would make
friggin' oath. This is just turning into a bad TV movie, isn't it? This is really
Yeah.
something. It's unbelievable. I could see, in a way, if you know approximately how many days it's going to take for all these new cases to manifest, and you don't want them to continue to choke up your regular hospitals, then yeah, you got 2 weeks until a whole bunch more people are going to start coming down sick. You better get those beds built for them, like pronto. So regardless of whether they had this thing contained or not, they know they're going to have possibly 100 million people that could be coming in and out of their system to get treated, and they don't want them stinking up the regular hospitals with this stupid bug. So, it's probably not contained, but I could see why they would be doing that. Because obviously in 40 days, we'll all know exactly how many people got sick, right? Yeah, it's a disaster. It's an absolute disaster.
All right.
Okay, well, we'll let you go, pal. Thank you very much. And
And
we'll keep touch.
talk.
Yeah, ciao for now.
Bye-bye.
Oops, what do I do with my goggles?
All right, let's keep going.
Okay.
Yeah, go back.
All right. Okay, we'll go back to the New York Times. Spike raised fears another Asian country was losing control over the rapid spread of the virus, making it more difficult to avert a global pandemic. That's in South Korea.
And you would think South Korea would be a lot more, I guess, infrastructurally, medically sound than China is.
Oh, they'd be equipped for all kinds of things. Yeah, definitely, and more organized, ostensibly. Japan, how they handled the quarantine of the Diamond Princess, shocks me, because you saw pictures of passengers, and either the masks weren't put on properly, Mike, or they were put on upside down. So either they just threw them on quick for the camera, or no one was supervising this quarantine procedure, which suggests to me that the Japanese really didn't want to get this stuff on them and probably didn't spend a lot of time on that ship. I'm inclined to think that the quarantine was a matter of, we'll dock it here and we'll throw a few boxes of masks to you and you put them on, okay? I don't know. It seems to me like they didn't apply themselves very well where this thing was concerned. This is something that's going to spook a lot of people, too, for obvious reasons. Nobody wants the Andromeda strain on them, okay? Like, neither do I, neither do you. So, total confirmed. What's that? Cases by country region. Region.
Let's go back to this one in Italy is a huge shocker. 50,000
Yeah, we're
people
gonna
in quarantine.
head over to northern Italy. What time are we getting to here?
8:52.
8:52. Holy, it's not even 9 o'clock.
The Mike in the Night pre-show.
You're gonna get the song again in a minute. Okay, our pledge to you. In the town of Codogno, where the first patient identified in the northern cluster was in a critical condition, closed supermarkets, restaurants, and shops made the main street practically a ghost town. The few people outside wore face masks, which were coveted items after selling out at pharmacies. Last Saturday, civil protection officials said 79 people had contracted the virus, including the 2 who died and 1 who recovered. Of the remaining 76 people infected, 54 were in Lombardy, 17 in Veneto, 2 in Emilia-Romagna, 2, a Chinese couple from Wuhan, in Lazio, and 1 in Piedmont. Lombardy government authorities said the region's cases were traceable to a 38-year-old Italian who had not traveled to China, but it remained unclear how this man had been infected.
Yeah, and you know how far? Well, we look at 7,000 kilometers.
Yeah, that's a long way to go for that disease to travel. I don't know. Maybe there was some international love story going on there, if you know what I mean. Nudge, nudge, wink, wink. Mm-hmm. Yeah, a lot of people are going to get infected by this bug, and they're not going to want to say how they got this bug the same way they wouldn't want to say how they got any other bug, if you get my meaning. Okay, who had not traveled to China, but it remained unclear how this man had been infected. 10 towns in Lombardy, thanks to patient 0 here, received orders to suspend non-essential activities and services. We'll carry on a little bit longer with this one. Luca Zaya, the Veneto regional president, said on Saturday that the contagion showed that the virus is transmitted like any flu, and that trying to pinpoint a single cause for the cases or to establish a link to China were no longer effective containment measures. You can get it from anyone, he told reporters. Apparently, this is a quantum bug. It just shows up anywhere in time and space, and it can take you over. That's good to know. You can get it from anyone. We can expect to have cases of patients who had no contact with suspected carriers. He added that while the virus isn't particularly lethal, it can be deadly for the elderly or people with existing conditions. And if we can scroll just one more paragraph to have a look there. Yeah, I'm not running the mouse. I'm hands off here. I'm the guidance system right at the moment. However, okay, and this is the part. The man who died in Veneto had not met the main risk factors for the virus when he was diagnosed with pneumonia 2 weeks ago.
That's scary.
That part is a little freaky. He had not traveled to China, nor come into contact with anyone who had.
Did he dream that he was in China?
Maybe he dreamed he was in China. Maybe it travels through dreams, right? Maybe it's some kind of, thing that happens and you just literally download it into your consciousness when you really wanted was like the scent of sandalwood or something. It sounds like it's something that can come up out of nowhere. I'm not buying that. I don't know about you. I'm not buying that. You don't get a virus without getting it from someone else. Unless he ordered some freeze-dried bat soup or something. I don't understand how that's possible. But what do I know? He had not traveled to China nor come into contact with anyone who had. Therefore, he was only tested for the virus after he did not respond to conventional pneumonia treatment, and by then it was too late, according to Francesca Russo, the head of healthcare for the Veneto region. Along with 8 other infected people, the man who died formed a cluster in his hometown of Voiganio, population 3,300. Any Italian speakers on here? Sincere apologies if I mangle any of these. Russo expressed relief that to date, none of the hospital personnel who treated the man have tested positive for the virus. Let me know if I'm too loud on here, guys. I'm not going to be talking all night. Okay, that's a break for you. Just let me know. Sometimes I hear playback, and when I've got my little headset on, and good God, I'm blowing the speakers out. Yeah, start eating bats. You'll be fine. Exactly. Build up immunity. Okay, get some mail order bats. Yeah. Don't get it from people because that's dangerous. Get it from a bat, and then you'll be fine. That's the key here. Just download some bat soup from Amazon and build up your.
Tell me you're joking.
Your thing. I'm joking. Of course I'm joking.
No, because somebody,
Yeah. No, don't eat bats. Just don't. Don't eat bats.
Is bats considered in the rodent family?
Yes, they're rodents.
Okay.
Yeah, they're not kosher. I know that. So, extra vitamins, population control is in effect. I feel well.
They've been talking about population control since the year 1000.
Population control, yeah. Glasses like this, I think, are way more effective population control than any kind of a virus, frankly. But that's a topic for another day. Yeah, they're pretty effective, both birth control, I can tell you that. Yeah, don't eat bats. Kosher bats, that's right.
bats.
Only eat kosher bats. Lord
bats.
Humongous, exactly. Yeah. Yeah, they gotta be blessed, and then it's different, right? Yeah, there's all kinds of things that obviously you could eat if you had to. Humans are omnivores. The reason we eat animals is because 95% of the plants and vegetation on this earth are inedible. That's why we have animals, so they can turn that inedible plant matter into usable protein for us. That's our hack. That's our killer app. It's called cows. Love cows.
What do you have to
Need
say
more cows.
to the? See, I'm a meatitarian myself.
A meatitarian, yeah, I am too. It's personal choice. It's a lifestyle choice. It's not for everyone, but I'm definitely a meatitarian. Yeah. As you are, Mike. Yeah.
Yeah, we're both into the whole meat thing.
That's
meat's
right.
Good. Meat grows hair on the chest too.
Animals give life, and that's beautiful. And I'm happy to take all the life they have to give me, and I'm always thankful for it.
We got a minute left, and we're going to be running the song.
That's right. We got 60 seconds to the song. So if anybody needs to go and refresh your beverage, go do that. I'm just going to be rambling for another minute here. Hescoaterian. I don't know what that is, but it sounds really cool. Just posted the stream on Twitter.
Yeah, that's the Chronicle. Well, ask him if he wants to come on
first
after 9 o'clock.
Awesome. Yeah, Evan, are you available to call in anytime tonight after 9? Right after the song, maybe?
All right, here goes. All right, let's switch for a bit.
Gemini King, Mike in the night, and the Gemini crew. Ooh. Mike into the night, you're here with Mike in the night. Mike into the night, you're here with Mike in the night. Let's just talk about the world, give this page another turn, 'cause you're here with us tonight. Everything's alright when you're here with Mike in the night. Mike into the night, you're here with Mike in the night. Giving the world light when you're here with Mike in the night. Mike into the night, you're here with Mike in the night. Sometimes things are just absurd, so let's just talk about the world, 'cause you're here with us tonight. Mike into the night, you're here with Mike in the night. Mike into the night, you're here with Mike in the night. Let's just talk about the world, give this page another curl, 'cause you're here with us tonight.
All right, I bid you all good morning, good evening, good night, wherever you may be watching this transmission. It is Mike in the night, and we got a very special guest on here tonight. Sorry about the there he is.
There you are. I see you all right there.
Supreme Cannon in the house on Mike in the night. So we're going to both be here. We'll be sharing the mic tonight, and there's a screenshot right there. Let's see if we can maybe move. Yeah, we're going to have to get rid of
Kinda, sorta.
There we go.
Sorry, I can't shrink my head. Okay? We're going to have to work with the physics that we have.
The physics that we have,
The physics that we have to work with.
Okay, we got a bit of the screen up there for people to read. Okay. All right, we're comfortable. Are you okay? Are you okay?
I'm good. Settled right in. Comfortable as hell. Great host here, this guy. Enjoying this a great deal. And it's nice to interact with you all.
Yeah, and he came by the shop bearing donuts, muffins, and dark roast with one cream.
That's right. I knew the drill.
Yeah, came out with the
drill.
coffee. How's my hair look? Does it look fake?
Your hair, it's amazing. You sit here and you can't tell. You can't tell at all. I told him tonight, like Rosie probably has to hose him down with a little bit of hose spray to make sure that he's not getting attacked when he goes outside to go to work. Yeah, it looks real good.
Anyways, okay, guys. Well, Mike in the Night tonight's very special edition, and we got our man Supremo Cannon in the house. So we got a pre-show with him basically hosting the show on his own and getting a few callers in. I want to thank everyone for joining us. Now we got a lot of people pouring in now because it is 9 p.m. I bid you good morning, good evening, good night, wherever you be watching this transmission. It is I, Mike Martins, and
Supreme Cannon.
Here, broadcasting from Merritt, British Columbia. And
beautiful Merritt, British Columbia. I hasten to add.
Yep, he was in my shop earlier today and spent some time and basically, spent some time at the shop today, eh?
Yeah, sad belly. I noticed Costco ration packs are sold out in the Barrie store at least. You mean like MREs? Meals ready to eat, or those freeze-dried camping kind of things?
Yeah, you know what? They were... and the 2-pound or 10 to 20-pound Kraft mac and cheese thing, the big bucket, they sold out of that too.
Oh, boy.
Yeah, the 20-pounder.
It's going to get interesting. It's something that you want to move on. Definitely. Don't wait too long.
So let's open up our coronavirus thing here. You guys can barely see it on that map there, but here it is, guys. What do we got here? Let's zoom this out. Let's go to total mainland China. Let's zoom this out and get the total. So total confirmed. We're at 76,000, guys. You know what? 76,936. I don't believe that. I think there's a lot more because what happened in Iran and how people in Italy and stuff, I think there's a lot more that China's not telling us. What is China not telling us, Supreme?
Everything. It's my firm belief, okay, and history will vindicate me one way or the other, that this got way ahead of them. They're at least a month to 6 weeks behind moving where they should have moved, and they know it now. I think that number is missing a couple of zeros. There are certainly people on the ground in Wuhan who have been saying the same, including people that you would think would have some kind of inside or at least an operational knowledge of how many bodies they're dealing with, either sick or deceased. We're never going to know the true number, I don't think.
But we're not meant to know. That's the thing. We're meant to know as the statistics 10 years down the road when it gets put in history. Like the bubonic plague. We know after. We know after.
Once all the records have been compiled, once all of the missing and unaccounted for have been accounted for by one person or another, or listed as missing, just like after a war, right? If they're burning bodies in the open air, or have portable crematoria come in to dispose of the deceased, then this isn't no 2,000 deaths. This is epic. This is horrendous.
So let's get another caller on the show here. We got a few videos here, but it's kind of choppy for you guys to see. So we'll just get a few callers here on the show. We want to see if Layla is doing okay. I'm not seeing the Raven on. Raven's usually on, and we're not seeing him. And the McChronicle, I wonder if he's okay to
Satellite of House. What's that one doing there, buddy?
Oh.
Can I come on?
Yes, okay, here it is. It's a friend from down under giving us insight on the coronavirus. So we're going to get him on the show right now.
Perfect.
G'day.
Good day, mate. Okay, so you're the one that gave us the update on the heart condition problem last week on the show. So that was really good that you plugged that for us. That made a whole world of a difference on the show. Now, go ahead. What's going on, buddy? What's on your mind with this thing?
Oh yeah, last week did I say how the reinfection works? I can't remember.
Yes, you did. That's what I was talking about.
Okay.
The pressure puts a lot of pressure on the heart, and if you recatch it or you catch it again, it becomes it hits you even harder. And you brought that up last week. Yeah.
there was some new epidemiology that I found out that actually a lot of viruses have that function. It works. It's called an ADE. I forgot what it stands for. Sorry. But yeah, what's happening new? The locust thing. They're not a lab-grown. It's not like a lab-grown conspiracy. I looked into that a little. Apparently, they're just a bog standard brown grasshopper that apparently, if they get a large amount of food into their system, they then go into like a third kind of mutation that they turn into a venomous yellow locust. It's yeah.
We saw photos of that when we talked about the 10 plagues.
Great.
Yeah. I know. The four horsemen of the apocalypse, or something like that.
The fourth grasshopper of the apocalypse. Yes, rock and roll.
Yeah, I don't know. I was just surprised. I actually thought locusts was actually like a thing on its own, but it seems to be that because there's been a lot of rain, because of the weird weather, the climate change stuff, that it rained a lot in a area where these grasshoppers live, and because the dirt got very wet, they actually then they can then breed tremendously in wet dirt, which then leads them to then move across the country into Africa where they grow the crops, and then bam, it went off.
So these are the locusts / grasshoppers / whatever they are?
Yeah, that's that. Yeah,
Same
so
bugs.
the brown grasshopper then becomes a locust, which is a venomous yellow creature.
A venomous yellow.
You do see strange things even in like more complex creatures. I mean, like, pigs, those, pink pigs, they, you release them into the wild and they turn into brown, boars. Like,
that's right, yeah.
we see changes in creatures. It's
Feral
really bizarre,
hogs.
isn't it?
30 to 50 feral hogs at a time, I hear, yeah.
Yeah.
Let me bring up those
And
locusts. I know what they look like,
Yeah.
so...
I'm just going to search for that.
Right here.
I'm just going to go through quick updates.
It's the yellow one you're talking about, right here.
Yeah.
Okay.
Actually, they turn yellow because they become somewhat venomous. A lot of creatures will not attack them to eat them because they'll die.
Yeah.
Isn't that great? Well,
Yeah.
mind you, Australia had a problem with emus. They actually lost a war fighting against emus in the 1920s. So just about any creature can have its day, I guess.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, yeah, by the way, hey, hello, Supreme. How you doing? Your hair is awesome, huh?
Yeah, it's your hair.
Yeah.
Oh, thank you. Yeah. The good news
Yeah,
is
yeah.
it isn't going to change color ever again. This is it. This is it till the finish
Oh,
line. So
yeah.
that's good.
No, man, it's awesome. You look like Gandalf. It's awesome.
Well, thank you. Devilishly handsome version of Gandalf, of course.
Yes, true that. Yeah, you just need to get your staff and then, like, you shall not pass.
That's right. Well, that's the thing. It brings gravitas. If I tell someone that this is going to happen, they're more inclined to believe me for at least the first 5 minutes.
Yeah.
So that's an advantage at times.
Yeah.
Okay, what's
the
your
other
update?
thing that
What's your update on the coronavirus? I know you're studying this. What's happening? Are you seeing Iran? They're closing
Yeah.
schools down. They're closing down events. We're seeing China set up, 19 more sports facilities and transforming them into hospitals. If they had 80 or
Correct.
90,000
Yes.
infected, why did they need coverage for 200,000 people?
basically because it is spreading far more than anyone is willing to tell us. We're actually seeing governments around the world just generally behaving in this way. I don't know why. Sometimes I wonder that they actually want this to spread because of a lot of different theories that I've heard, which I don't think we have time. We don't have hours on this show to go through them all. But, you can think of them. I'm sure everyone's heard of some of the theories. Why would they want this to spread? Then you have, Pakistan is not going to fly in their, I think it's 500 students, but India is. And an Indian show I found that out from. It's India Republic, I think is the name of the channel, which is a hilarious channel, mind you. It's Internet Blood Sports apparently died on YouTube, but it actually lives on in Indian television. It's great. Then you have Australia is going to bring all of the Chinese students here. I don't know why. They're like, oh yeah, let's just bring them here. I mean, these are the students that come from China, and then they stay here in Australia.
I saw that in the news. I'll bring it up here real quick, where Australia's okaying 500 students.
Yeah,
500,000.
that's ridiculous. That's absolutely ridiculous. I don't get it. The thing with Iran, yeah, it's like a quantum. It's like a quantum destabilization. The virus can just warp
Well, here,
through time and space.
Australia relaxes coronavirus travel ban to allow students from mainland China. Here's the deal. Education is a big business now, and these Western countries can't lose that because the local population can't afford. The local population can't afford student loans, or they don't want to take student loans anymore. So upfront cash upfront, because the cost of student education is so expensive. Once the second education became deregulated and the government started to take over and federalize it, it brought it through the roof, made it affordable in a way so you could get the money easier. And now the locals can't afford to go to school, so what do they have to do? They got to chaperone hundreds of thousands of students. Ireland's doing it too. And look what's happening. Now there's a chance they might bring in more of this virus. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, one that is actually something that I've noticed is that the economy is far more important than stopping a once in 100-year pandemic. That's basically what I gather here.
Yes.
Yeah.
Obviously.
Why? I mean, I get that, right? And the thing is that, well, look, I get it, but I don't agree with it. But from what I understand is that the economy is actually in massive trouble and has been for years. And that this is the black swan event that they refer to with the economy. I mean, you know that, Mike. I think you've spoken about the black swan. So this is going to crash the economy. I think that's a guarantee. I mean, just look at what's happening with the port in China. I think yesterday or the day before there was a report about the refrigerated containers. They've had to unplug them, and now there's hundreds of thousands of tons of food rotting in the ports.
Yeah.
You know? Yeah. Meat and vegetables. So that, I mean, a food shortage is well on its way.
Yeah, distribution. Yeah, whatever's in the pipeline right now, that's what's left, guys.
The thing is
get it now.
Sorry.
Well, that's right. The thing is, you still want to avoid an economic panic, because we know that even if it was just an economic panic and not because of this cerveza bug, that it could be mass casualties anyway, right? Panic, rioting, violence, pillage, plunder, and rapine. And this way you have the collapse, but everyone has to stay home. So, yeah, don't let the crisis go to waste. But I don't know. Is it an engineered takedown? I'm prepared to debate that. But it still looks like
sure
one, right?
It looks like... So I heard a new theory that actually makes a lot of sense to me. It's that... so these bats, okay, apparently... Years ago, they found that the bats were harboring on and off something on the order of about 400 strains of coronavirus in these bats.
Sure.
And that they found that these bats were mostly in rural areas, in rural towns nearby, and that the Chinese people living in those remote towns would actually go there to relax because it was cool, you know, in the mouth of the cave.
Yeah.
Then they studied the people living there and found that there were some spillover events, which is what they call it when a virus jumps into humans, but it was causing no to mild symptoms and nothing more. What could have happened is it's incompetence. It got out of the lab. Whether or not they did engineer it, or they were playing with it, we're never going to know, or we're going to find out a long, long time from now.
That's what I think.
That's the way I see it. Yeah, I don't think anyone did this on purpose, but it is bizarre that you had Event 21. Was it Event 21? Like the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation
Event 201,
doing their...
That's right, yeah. And that was like in November, like literally a month before this became an issue, right?
Yeah, and that Event 1 also talks about the food shortage and collapse of economy, everything. Everything we're seeing right now, they played with only months ago, which is just bizarre.
Hold on. We got something here. I want to bring up something real quick here. China shipping nears a standstill amid coronavirus disruption. Executives say large container ships are leaving Chinese port as little as 10% full, and sailings are being canceled as carriers brace for a financial retreat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that big air bubble in the supply chain, the fuel line of the global economy. Yeah, there it is, right there. Here it comes.
Well, that's what happens when you put all your manufacturing in one country.
Yeah, seems like a great idea
Yeah. But
Well, I think that's pretty much all I've got, other than just to mention that don't forget that I mentioned this a few weeks ago. If you go out there to get some water, I mean, food, I don't know, I have no advice. But when it comes to water, don't forget office supply chains. They often, you might see water completely bought out at all the normal shops, but you can go to like an Office Works type place and you can buy the water that's for those chiller machines that you see at waiting rooms. Those seem to be forgotten. So tons of that stuff.
That's
for you guys.
right. Yeah, the 5-gallon water jugs. Yeah, they're handy.
Yeah.
If you can handle 50 pounds at a time, go load up on them. Don't
guys,
be bashful.
Get a life straw. Here's a life straw. Look at this guy. This guy's drinking from some muddy creek here.
Yeah.
Look at the life straw.
Yum.
The life straw is real good. It actually, I just recommend to pick up one life
careful.
straw.
Just be careful with the life straw. Make sure that it does actually block, something like coronavirus. We don't know.
Well, no, I'm
right.
saying if the water supply shuts down or something happens, you could use this with your rainwater, right? If you collect rainwater, this could be a good way to filter it.
Yeah, sure, of course.
Yeah.
And I guess one other thing is don't forget to use fuel stabilizer when you go to get fuel. It's not going to extend it a great deal, but you get about 3 to 6 weeks without fuel stabilizer. And then you get maybe 2 to 3 months with fuel stabilizer. And if you have access to your car, use the older engine, not the newer ones, because the newer engines have a very sensitive, they're very sensitive to the octane, which is what seems to die off in the fuel. And so use the older car that you have because it's more likely to run on old fuel. So that's just another bit of advice there for you.
Yeah, fair enough. Okay.
Right. Thank you so much.
Yeah, I'll ring in again next week. Hopefully I've got more than this week, but I did want to come on just to give those quick things.
All right, thank you. Thank you so much.
All right, guys.
Thanks a lot.
I'm going to be listening.
Thank
All
you.
right, love you guys. See ya. Bye.
Yeah, he's also a member of the channel too. He's a member of the channel, guys. All right, it's 9:20. Let's do a quick channel plug. We didn't do one at the beginning of the let me just get my face out of here. Go up here. Look at that Supreme Canada. Looks so handsome. Huh?
Look at that guy over there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So anyways, let's get back. All right, here we go, guys. Don't forget to join the channel. Click over here to get the join. I think Supreme Cannon's, you're a member too, right?
Yes, I am.
There he goes. Automized Asteroid. He's a member too. And if you guys can, it's not much. It's the overhead's pretty pricey when you start. Overhead of everything, electricity. Remember that bill I read the other day? $440 electricity.
Oh God!
Bill. Did you see that? I read it.
Yeah, brutal.
$128 carbon tax.
Just brutal.
$128.
$128 carbon tax.
So when those Earth Changer people complain to me, say, "Hey, I'm paying $2,200 a year in carbon tax. Leave me alone for my gas and my electricity." So guys, don't forget to join the channel. Lots of videos here. If you can, share a video. If you can, guys, I really appreciate it. And also, right here, Supreme Cannon bot. I was a guest on the Mike in the Night. There it is there. It didn't come out as good, so I removed it from the store. We're going to get another I was a guest on Mike in the Night one. I'll get one made as soon as possible, and I'll get the new orders in. And then we got, don't forget to message me on Facebook. You can follow me on Instagram. I'm going to put a picture of Supreme up here now that everyone knows what he really looks like. And you could tip me on PayPal if you like. All right.
Oh, I'm fine. Go for it.
Put the slow mode on the chat. Oh, yeah. Okay, slow mode doesn't work on members, though. Yeah. Okay, guys. Mike in the Night. We are back with the CV coronavirus, COVID-19. Whatever you want to call it. They're going to call it something new every week, so brace yourselves for that, right? You know where that came from, right? You know where I'm getting that from. Do you know, Supreme?
I think so.
ISIL, WXYZ, and then they changed the name from ISIS and Afghani freedom fighters.
Yeah.
Then from Afghani freedom, Al Qaeda. Then they're this and that. Every week it's a new name, so people in the media have no idea if they're tricking or treating.
Yeah, there's a letter cloud on a dartboard, and they just throw them.
Throw it out, letter.
Yeah. We're going to be SILI this week, and then they come up with a Symbionese liberation, something like that. Why not? It's like, okay, where are we sending the check to this week, right? They decide that in the Pentagon and then send the check so that it's on the news next week.
Yeah.
But it keeps everybody working.
Keeps everybody working.
It's economic stimulus, my friend.
Saeda. I heard that one too, Chris Shaw. Chris Shaw in the house from Kamloops. Kamloops.
Nice.
All right, so let's, I wanted to look something up. What was it? Supreme, did you remember, or did I forget? I forgot, didn't I? We're going to look something up. I was going to look up something I was looking at. Yeah, Iran. This is a big deal because I want to bring this up. I really want to emphasize on this because the amount of people, 28 cases confirmed and 6 dead, that's not a good ratio. This is a really dangerous ratio to be playing with. I don't think Iran has any reason to lie. I think Iran, this is a dangerous ratio. Supreme, am I just maybe over like, I'm maybe kind of, just ramping this up, but 28 cases and 6 dead, what do you think? I know we brought this up early. I think this is a problem, man.
6 people are dead that shouldn't be.
It should be
something that
happened. It should be 600 infected,
3,000,
right?
Yeah, 600 infected total.
6 dead.
Yeah, 6 dead. The percentage looks like it's really bad. It's really high. Exactly what the characteristics are of the people that got
That's like 22%.
Yeah, it's a devastating percentage. It's terrible. It's early. We're only going to know once this thing has run its course and all the numbers are compiled, like every other flu every other year, right? There's just no way to know otherwise. It just looks like it's this friggin' freight train that's going around the world, and it's going to start popping up like mushrooms after the rain, and everybody needs to panic a little early. Don't wait for them to tell you, okay, it's time to go home and freak out. Just be ready to go yourself.
So Iran saying they're shutting down schools, cultural centers. So this is a big deal because China didn't make a big deal about this until like early January. So Iran has got the jump on something, and they're shutting this down real quick. Why did China wait a million years to basically start really getting it, why, you see, if China clamped down like these guys did from day one, and actually showed their numbers, and actually, I think it'd be a lot different, to be honest. Because the Iranian government is state-run, media and all that. They could lie. They could easily say, we have no cases, our country's clean.
It would have, but again, like I said, if they had jumped on this the same way they're doing now in December, and suppose they had prevented a breakout, maybe they contained it to a 6-block radius of Wuhan before Chinese New Year, and it never got out and went all over China and all over the world at jet plane speed, like we were saying.
So schools and universities are closed in Iran?
They might have looked ridiculous. What if there'd only been 200 infected and 20 deaths or something? Well, that would be pretty bad. It would be something for the record books and to notify the WHO, but it would have been the disruption of trillions of dollars worth of economic activity for several hundred infected and a couple of dozen. The problem is if they succeeded, they would have looked ridiculous, and then this maybe was considered an acceptable risk.
Okay, let me throw a curveball out there. Let's throw a curveball out there.
Throw away, you betcha.
Could the virus have mutated so that it's taken more people to ratio?
Well, it's not impossible. Obviously, it's been doing some mutation already. But it was the original bug in the original infection. I don't know what it takes for it to mutate. Does it have to go through a certain number of people before it starts to take on like natural selection, some kind of different characteristics? Like what would it have to do to begin to mutate?
Can I tell you what I think it is? And guys, I'm not a scientist, I'm not a doctor, I don't know anything, but I'm going to tell you what I think it is. Are you ready for this?
Sure, give her.
Climate change, like the change in what, like cooler, damp, humid, cold. I think the virus mutates to adapt to the climate outside.
could be.
I wholeheartedly believe that.
But didn't you just tell us about all that carbon tax you paid?
Well,
I thought it was supposed to protect us from all of this.
Yeah.
Electorate that supports all of this and thinks it's just great. It's not just our government. It's a lot of our fellow citizens are out of their minds.
Absolutely.
They're too sheltered. They're too. There's something about the degradation of it and the degeneracy of all this that they get a kick out of. You know, I mean, you'd call it demonic if you were living in a different age.
Yes,
They get
absolutely.
a gleam in their eyes to some of
good
the
with that.
sickest and most depraved activity and just treating each other. You know, like they'll infect other people with all kinds of stuff if they could. This is
I
going to bring
totally
out
agree.
there's a real base part of a lot of people's id that is going to be on full display if this thing turns into an actual pandemic in Canada.
You know what, guys? Let me interject here. Could the 2020 Tokyo Olympics be a victim of COVID-19? So they're looking at the Olympics now, and I just totally forgot this, but Tokyo is going to host the 2020 Olympics. What the heck?
You know how to read that, Mike? That's like seeding the idea that there's going to be an outbreak at that event. It's like seeding the idea. Like, why do they even care to put it in these terms? Why do they even care to mention that? Is there any basis to put such a headline? When I read these papers, I feel that they're just seeding the ideas, they're just seeding it.
So you're saying, Layla, what you're saying that, see, I told you so, like later down the road, right?
Bingo.
Yeah.
Well said, Mike.
Predictive programming, right? Yeah. Putting ideas out there and then we'll go to the Tokyo Olympics and we'll have a big bag of crickets.
Crickets, yeah.
Yeah.
Crickets.
Looking forward to that. Yes, sir.
But you know what? I want to be really frank about things. I really want to be like, I'm concerned where a lot of things are headed. I really am, wholeheartedly. And the problem is, I don't think, if people want to be trans, I really don't care. And there was always people that were gay, trans, straight, whatever.
Oh yeah.
But the problem with this is, I don't care, and I never did. And I never judged a person by their sexual orientation, their color, their creed. I never cared, right? It doesn't matter. You know what I'm saying? Like,
just keep it over there.
We don't care. You know what I'm saying? And it's like, everybody's got a clean slate when they first meet me. And everyone gets a chance, right? But the thing is, they keep throwing it at us at different angles that they want us to approve of everything. It's like. It's not that I don't approve. I just don't care, and I just want the normalization of just living my life and doing what I want. Maybe we should throw we don't throw straight parades for straight pride, right? You know what I'm saying?
No.
Well, this guy in Boston tried to do what was it? Straight pride.
I remember that guy. Yes.
Yeah.
But that's what I'm trying to say. It's like I honestly, wholeheartedly think nobody cares. What people want to do with I'm not hurting somebody's feelings. I'm not going out to make someone feel, purposely going out there to make someone feel uncomfortable. I couldn't care less. As if the person's happy, then hey, you're happy. You know what I'm saying?
We couldn't care less until they started shoving it down our throats and starting to assault women and starting to assault children.
I understand that, Layla. But what I'm saying, it's getting to that. But what I'm trying to say is that it's not that this didn't exist before. It's existed for millennia. And they're trying...
No, I'm not concerned about people's private lives.
Exactly.
I couldn't care less. In fact, I cared a lot more about their issues before I came here. Mm-hmm. When I came here and I saw what this is turning into.
Yes.
We didn't say they should be normalized in society, and we welcome them in our lives and in our spaces, so that they can come and walk all over us, walk all over our kids.
Exactly.
Start to discriminate against us. Start to stick men in our bathrooms. Start to stick the worst criminals in women's jails, and start to brainwash children with all sorts of disasters. Not only that, but they're castrating children. Do you go chop off legs and arms? Do you go remove organs? It's crazy what these people are doing. They're criminals on the loose, and this is being normalized, and there's a government to push it. You know,
Yeah, the
it's
state
like,
is kidnapping children and permitting them to be have their gender changed against the parents' wishes.
yeah, how is that not
That's Civil
amputation?
War tier stuff there.
Okay,
That
okay.
I think so. That I think so, Supreme. You know, so for me, I think this is a really serious issue. And I think it's one of the most serious issues because it's touching not laws, not our administration, not how
No.
we run the country, but it's touching, it's hurting our very basic humanity, you know, the very fundamental of what it means to be alive, what it means to be a human being.
Yeah.
You know, that's why I feel this is very, very serious. And honestly, as a woman, no, I felt a lot safer elsewhere. And
Yeah.
I also, and I am someone who lived most of my life very near the borders of Saudi Arabia. And I never felt as threatened and as oppressed as I have living here. You know, at least over there, some things are black and white, and you can put your mind to rest about what you talk about and what you don't.
Yes.
But you are not in a situation where you feel that there's going to be a creepy man walking into your bathroom or your kids being brainwashed with all sorts of not only highly sexualized information, but
Yes.
all the way false information. You know, or having your kids chemically castrate. And I can tell you that these projects are underway, though. You know, I can tell you that all the folks who are signed up to the United Nations and all of the globalist garbage, they are aligning with this stuff. This is, you know, this is happening.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Not
Okay.
to this, not to the same extreme, not to the same extreme that we're seeing here, but they're trying to, you know, to find their way.
Yeah. Okay. Well, we wanted you to have your piece on here, and we understand. And you know, I just have to be really careful with the channel. I don't want to get it strike down, right?
Absolutely, Mike, and feel free to, you know, feel free to tell me. Like, I don't ever want to
No,
put you
no, it's
in
not that.
here.
I want to make sure that you have a voice, right? And I don't want you to feel that you don't have a voice, because I want to make sure you know that you have a voice, right? But the thing is, we have to play their game, right? We have to play their game. So we'll play
Well,
their game.
here's my answer. I'm not playing their game.
No. I'm saying how we talk about certain things. A lot of
Right,
people
agreed, agreed. Within reason.
yeah, a
Yeah.
lot of people on here know what we're talking about already. A lot of people that are on this channel, we don't have a big following, but we have enough people that know.
Simpatical. Right?
Simpatical, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And bless you, Mike. And again, I never want to put you in a position where, you know, I risk, you know, your channel or your work. You know, you always feel free to tell me, you know, like, you know, bless you for having us on your show and
Mhm.
having us speak. I think what we do here is really important. And yes, we are going to be a tiny bunch for sure.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Anyway, any last words? We're approaching the 10 o'clock hour.
I'm good, Mike. I don't have too much information updates at this stage, but yeah, I'm glad I came on. I also to let you know that I'll be leaving soon. So if you guys don't see me on the channel, it's probably because I'm in different time zones. But I'll catch up as best I
Hey, it's
can.
only 4 o'clock in England in the morning.
That's true. That's true.
You're up by then.
Yeah.
No problem.
Oh, look who's on, Mike. Raven's on. You might want to.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
We'll harass Raven for a bit.
Safe travels,
Sounds good.
Layla.
Yeah, safe travels. Go with God.
Yeah.
Thanks so much, as always. Bless you both
God bless
and
you. Bye.
everyone.
Bye for now.
Thanks.
That is Layla speaking her heart out. And yeah, you know what, guys? Yeah, the I guess the arm twisting. I left the city. I don't know if you guys remember that story I told you. I was at my stepson's school, high school. We were there. We're all standing around talking at some parent-teacher thing, and a lot of people around the cafeteria.
Yeah.
And then somebody asked me. They go, "Oh yeah, who are you here with?" I'm like, "I'm here with my wife." And the guy's like, "No, you mean your partner?" I'm like, "No, I'm here with my wife." "No, we don't say that here. You're here with your partner." And I'm like, "Whoa." So yeah, I know. People get upset with how we're I guess trying to be. I guess they're loading us. I guess. Does that make sense? Loading us to say loading our lips.
Conditioning us.
Yeah.
Preconditioning to talk a certain way.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So it is.
They're weird, creepy people, and you don't like to have to deal with them. But it seems like it's like a human coronavirus. They're springing up everywhere, like a new plague of zombies, and it's not good. But
Look at the streets in Italy. Well, let me open this up for you guys to see. Look at this. Look at this tourist area, Italian street here. Look at this. Let me just open this up here for you guys. Look at that. That's a street right now in Italy.
Yeah.
That's like during the day, sun is up, weather looks great, all the patios are closed off. It doesn't look like there's much going on there.
That's what our cities should look like.
Yeah. But
That's what they used to look like.
But look at that, it's all gone.
Yeah.
All right, so we got Aberfield in the house saying, I have a wife. No, you don't. You have a partner. Don't you forget that. Yeah.
Don't you call your partner names like that, A.B. Field.
Yeah.
That's right.
And then we got...
Respect your partner.
Respect your partner.
Partner?
Doesn't that sound like something like in Wild West? Okay,
Yes, it does.
Let's go, partner. We're going to mount our horses and we're off to get the bad guys.
There's only room for one of us in this town, partner.
Adam's saying he has a wife too. No, Adam, you have a partner.
That's right. Yeah, your partner happens to also
well,
be your wife,
technically,
apparently.
Bonnie and Clyde were partners, right?
Yeah, they were.
They were because
And
they weren't
partners in
married.
crime. So it's everybody on Plenty of Fish is looking for a partner in crime, apparently.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. Are there any honest people on there anyway? Frankly, I doubt it. But that's a conversation for a different night.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And oh boy, yeah.
Yeah, that's
and,
not...
And
yeah.
a kettle of fish. Yeah, we don't need that tonight.
All right, so let's get into some CV footage here. Some CV footage that's been up. Where the hell did I put that? Let me find where I put that here. We got prisons. We got everything here. Let's see what we got here. Let's see if Zero Hedge put up anything new in the last couple of hours here while we've been on. Nope, nothing new on Zero Hedge. We can close them down. CV virus, we got that up. South Korean cases spike as fear builds. So that's for sure. That's happening. Fear is building. And South Korea's fourth largest city is in a state of emergency. So there it is there. Look at them fumigating that down. Look at that. Let's open this up for people to see. The fumigation that's going on here. Do you honestly think this works, Supreme? Honestly, could we scientifically prove that this works?
No, not at all. But it depends. What are they spraying? And what concentration? Is this something that worked anywhere else? No, it was not on Grindr. TJ, settle down. I saw that. Maybe. I don't know. I don't know. What are they spraying? I mean, they have trucks in long rows going up and down the 4 lanes, blasting this stuff everywhere. And apparently it's some kind of hospital sanitizer. Like it's, like you've seen them spraying it in offices with people working, right? It's like those old commercials with DDT, like we were talking about before. Maybe it's an antiviral. Maybe it actually sterilizes surfaces somewhat. But in that kind of concentration with something that's literally full of, millions per square meter, could it do anything? I don't know.
Adam in the comments asking, Mike, Mike, have you watched the Contagion, the movie? Yes, I did, and there's better movies, actually. There's Stephen King, The Stand. The Stand is really good by Stephen King. That's 4 hours long, but The Stand. And Outbreak is good. And Outbreak, I think Morgan Freeman's in that, if I recall. Outbreak was good. And then there was another one that was really good. It's called Threats. Let's see if they have any. Let's see if they even have that. Threats. 1984. There it is. No, that's not Threads. Threads. Yeah. Okay. It's right. Yeah. Okay. Here it is.
The hell is Threads? Oh, that's an apocalypse movie.
It's an apocalypse movie.
Okay.
Yeah, that's a really good one. If you guys haven't seen this movie, I really recommend you see this. It's called Threads, I guess. And then Outbreak. This is a great movie. If you haven't seen this. Right, here we go. Great movie. Dustin Hoffman's in it. Yeah, is that Morgan Freeman? Yeah, it is.
Yeah, Outbreak.
Yeah, okay, there we go.
1995.
1995. Watch Outbreak, guys. If you guys want to see a good movie, let me open this for you guys to see this. There's Outbreak. Please watch Outbreak. It's apparently taken. It's apparently taken from a true story. It's taken from a true story from the Ebola.
Yeah, that's right.
But it wasn't as outbreakable as they made it seem, right? But it kind of gives you a little bit of a... And then there's The Stand by Stephen King. This one is more about what we're dealing with right now. The Stand, here it is. There it is there. You see all the bodies littered all over the floor here. The Stand.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it's a really good one. This is a really good, really good movie. If you haven't seen The Stand, oh, I love this guy in the movie. I love this guy.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, this is a really good movie, guys. If you haven't seen it, there's the Raven right here. So if you haven't seen
Raven in the Stand. Yeah.
look at it here with this guy's here with this. I might use this for one of my wallpapers or something.
Bodies all over the streets. Jeez.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, that's awesome. The Stand.
See, at least this one you get time to go home and have a couple of shots of vodka and a nice dinner, little bit, before the sniffles come. Yeah, no, that would suck real bad.
Yeah, so if you haven't seen the movie The Stand, please get out there and watch it. All right, we got. I don't know if the virus. Sorry. Let's see if we can get the Raven. He changed. He lost his old Skype number, so I gotta keep finding him here.
Yeah, where are you at, Raven?
No, I got him here. Here it is. I have to find him through the back end of the Skype here.
Oh, okay.
Ooh, he's got something there. Let's see if he picks up the phone.
I just woke up, Mike.
Oh, you just woke up? I'm so sorry.
Like maybe 20 minutes ago. I woke up and I put on your show and I was like, what the hell? I thought it was a dream.
Yeah.
I was dreaming.
Yeah.
But no, I heard a lot in there. So I'm glad I caught that.
How's it going, buddy?
Good. How you guys doing?
Yeah, we're doing fantastic.
So far, so good.
We're doing fantastic. We got Supreme Canada in Merritt, BC.
I see that you kidnapped them there.
Yeah, you bet. Yeah. There was a team of ninjas, Filipino ninjas came and tented me out the door with donuts, and here I am. So I gotta do the show tonight if I want to survive. So sorry, everybody.
Are you staying in Merritt?
I'm doing this to save my own skin.
You staying in Merritt?
Yeah, I'm spending the night here. My boy's gonna come over from the connector from West Bank tomorrow. So we're going to meet up for a few hours, and then he'll go home, and I'll go home.
Okay. I was out cleaning the protesters off the track today.
Were you? Oh, right. So let's get into some protesters. Rail protests here. Rail protests. Tell us, Raven. Tell.
Did you blow through them for real?
There's none. They're all gone.
Yeah, I think they are. There was some on the tracks near my little town, too, but they're gone now.
I haven't been at work in almost a month, and I'll tell you the one thing that shocked me is that nobody there knew what the cerveza virus was.
For
nobody.
Real?
No, that was shocking. Shocking. They looked at me like, "Oh yeah, here we go again. Oh yeah, here we go. So what's going to happen now? Is the world going to end?" And I'm like, "Are you serious?" And they just blank stare, and I'm like, oh my God! Well, at least there won't be a lineup at the grocery store when crap hits the fan because nobody.
That's the advantage. I haven't seen that anywhere. I haven't seen traffic any more or less busy than it was since this whole thing started. I mean, it's in the news everywhere now, and no one's moving.
Yeah,
Woo.
I don't know. Does the news consist of Facebook? Because if it doesn't, these guys aren't going to hear about it.
Well, you'd think at least the Weather Channel and maybe Candy Crush and Oprah, and Ellen would at least maybe mention it on their show, so maybe people will go and Google it for a minute. But no, they've got them with the tunnel vision there, and they're going to keep them there.
It's a complete absence of knowledge of that virus there. I was amazed, so I didn't really even talk to anyone about it. They didn't know what I was talking about. I didn't feel like explaining a bunch of stuff to them, so
no,
didn't know. No, and like the guy that I worked with, like we spent, we had a long talk on the way up. Probably we were on there for 9 hours. Coming home, probably we were just over 10 hours. We didn't talk too much about anything coming home, but on the way there, we did. No clue, not a clue, man. Completely void of any knowledge of anything that's going on. 25 years old, not a clue.
So the guy doesn't know if he's tricking or treating.
Well, he does now.
Yeah, right. Good for God now, probably.
Instead spent 9 hours in a confined space with me. He's got a pretty good idea.
Yeah. Yeah.
Another one brainwashed.
Did you tell him about my channel?
Yes, actually, I can't really. How do I put that? When we got to our bunkhouse, we watched a show.
Okay.
We watched the one. It was, you know what? It was one day before the first coronavirus came out. It was just before New Year's. I was wearing that wig.
Oh, you look so cute in that video.
You said I looked like the guy from Tiger, or no, from Toto. You said I looked like the singer from Toto.
The drummer from Toto.
Yeah, or whoever. Yeah.
The singer
Good
from Toto. Yeah. So
then,
you're finding a lot of clueless people that don't know what the heck is going on with the coronavirus.
Yeah, that's right. They don't even know what it is.
So what the heck is going on in Italy? It's like 7,000 kilometers from China.
They're shutting down. You know, there was something that when I was like reading some of those stories today. There's some things that are kind of concerning there, like how people can be cured and then reinfect later. You know, I'm thinking we're going to need a complete world vaccine for this.
Well, we covered this last week where people get reinfected, right? We had the caller in from Australia that gave us that very important, vital information, remember?
Yeah. And, but like some of the stories when I was reading on it were coming out, but it's like rare, but, you know, we may need a complete world vaccine just to make sure that nobody's going to keep reinfecting, eh? We may have to vaccinate everyone. It might have to be mandatory. Sorry, but that's just the way I think that it's going to have to play out.
Yeah, I can read through the bull crap, Raven.
Damn shame, eh? God, well, we're going to have to stick you all with the needle for your own good, though. You understand? Yeah. Well, it's a good thing that our elites love us so much, and they look after us that way. I, for one, welcome the warm embrace of our reptilian overlords.
Yeah, you're reptilian. Okay.
You betcha. Bring them on.
Yeah, I don't go that far, Mr. Ike.
No.
Okay,
Yeah, me either.
Okay, let me throw something out here real quick. For the Raven. Raven, I know you worked in all kinds of different facility and this and that, and judging things by looking at them and understanding how things work. Do you think throwing this fumigation crap in the air is actually going to disinfect the street?
You know what? I think it does more harm than good to humans. Like when they spray for mosquitoes, you know. Yeah. Like, but you can hear it in the summertime, eh? Your windows open, you know, it's warm out. You can hear that.
Yeah.
And it's coming down the street, and they tell you to keep your windows closed. They're spraying that. I just don't think that stuff's good for anyone.
Yeah. I think that's pretty.
And with them launching planes all around the city, and you're on a cruise ship. Oh, okay, let's send you guys all back to your country. What do they really care? You know, like Supreme said, you should be shutting down air traffic. Like they're not taking it seriously, or they're trying to spread it, you know?
I know, that's too obvious, you know what I'm saying?
Too obvious is them putting it in that little Wuhan city during the mass migration, you know? Too obvious is them screwing the economy for 20 years and getting an alibi. Oh, it's the virus. Yeah, it was the virus that knocked the economy. Come on.
Yeah.
Like, that just flashes completely red.
It's like they think that the general population just arrived from bedrock, from like where the Flintstones are. We just got here from Alpha Centauri or something.
Sadly.
Yeah, when you're talking about the movies there, did you see this movie? I was just typing a question in the room there. I was putting, did you guys see the movie where they weaponized the coronavirus and put it in Wuhan so that they could knock out the economy? Oh, wait, we're living that movie.
Yeah, we're living that one right now. This is live right now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That bizarre movie. Well, we knew something was coming, right? I mean, something. We assumed it would be some kind of financial meltdown or a housing crash or Deutsche Bank or somebody. Something topples the first domino, right? Everything is and then something goes ding.
That's the thing,
right?
We understand the severity of the situation. The severity is their repo crisis is it's collapsing on them.
Yeah.
And September 16th, the end of the trading day, repo crisis jumps to 10%. And then they start bailing out the repo, that the Fed starts injecting that money.
Yeah.
Guess what happened starting that day? Stock market, new highs, kept going. Hey, man, you're jamming the adrenaline. You better get something going now. You better get that coronavirus going, because this shit ain't going to last for long. We're going to have to take the blame for this. I'm not taking the blame. I'm not doing 10, 20 years in jail for manipulating the world economy and benefiting off it.
That's
Oh,
right.
God forbid. God forbid.
That's right.
Man steals loaf of bread to feed his family, goes to jail for 20 years.
Like I've always said, yes, there are elites behind the scenes and they make calls. They don't love each other. They will throw each other under the bus like you can't believe.
Oh, yeah. Like Mike, I said, I watched your show, a rerun there, just before. We didn't say one thing about Corona. It was right at New Year's. So the first case was brought out December 31st. So it was just a couple days before. And I listened to when I was wearing that wig there. And I have that episode. I sent it to myself on WhatsApp, but it says these guys, I was going off on Trump and his trade war. He's pressuring this world. He's trying to bring it down and weaken it and weaken it and weaken it. Then they're going to throw the Brexit. They're going to try and knock it down. They're trying to weaken it. A day or two later, that coronavirus came out. And look what that's doing to the rest of the world economy. I just didn't see that it was going to be a virus. I thought Brexit would have more bang or something else.
Oh, Brexit
like that general.
wasn't
I thought it
even
was
peeing in the pool, dude.
Yeah.
I thought it was the general. Remember, I said that was going to be a bigger thing. The general. I thought it was the general.
No.
Them shooting Solomon. No. It's the coronavirus. But I knew it was coming. I could tell that they were doing it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I was going to ask you something. So, how do you feel to have a voice on Mike in the Night? It's nice, eh? Looking back at some replays and see what you said back in the day, eh?
Yeah, I know. It's kind of cool. Yeah. Yeah. You give people a voice.
Yep. Yeah, that's why we got to be really careful what we say here sometimes. It's just, I understand, we know, we get the angle of it, we get it, we know, you know what I mean? But we got to be careful, you know, I talk about housing, how it's affecting it, you know. I think in all fairness, the one thing everyone's asleep to is the fact that nobody in their own country in the Western world can afford to own a house, when 20 years ago that wasn't a problem. And I'm focusing on this whole housing issue for so many years, because it is one of the biggest make or break deals for us as here in our own countries. If we can't get into our how come we didn't fix this? Well, I've been talking about this for the last 7-8 years.
Yeah,
that's very important. You know, and people, I cover that because that's a very important angle. I also cover we have Mike in the Night, so we could kind of cover a broad, topics that we could talk about this virus and stuff like that. And these Mike in the Nights never get monetization, ever. That's why I do my other videos through the week, to allow me to get through, you know what I'm saying?
I think they don't monetize your Mike in the Nights because there's certain entities out there that are gauging how quickly we're catching on to shit by what you put on your show. They're looking at it and going, holy crap, these guys are figuring it out.
You honestly think so?
I don't know. But we've all read certain articles out there that tell us which entities are monitoring which channels on YouTube. Yeah. Do you think yours is not in that group? I don't think so. I think it's in that group. You know?
This last week alone, last show yours I called into, and I used several words, key concepts or something like that. I forget exactly what. But within about 2 days, my YouTube suggestions had those subjects on them. YouTube listens to you, to what you says, and tries to direct things to you. So I don't doubt that, or Facebook rather. So YouTube obviously does it too.
Yeah,
they'll do it. They're listening to you, and it's not even necessarily to censor you as much as it is to try to direct things to you.
If you listen back to all Mike's shows, there was 8-9 months ago, I brought up a concept of cryptocurrencies, how they're going to attach a time-sensitive interest rate to cryptocurrencies. I watched Max Kaiser a few months ago. He was in in Acapulco, and he interviewed a guy who said, we're considering putting time sensitive on cryptocurrencies. And I thought, oh, great. I said that 4 or 5 months ago. And that's on your show. So that's what I like. There's an alibi on your show. All those recorded shows, you can go back and say, oh, he said that before those guys said that.
I get that a lot. And you know, a lot of people send me links through the week. Hey, this guy's talking about what you're talking about. He's got 1 million subscribers. How come he's not plugging you? I'm like, oh, whatever. I don't care. You know what I'm saying? Maybe they should be going, you know, because and going back to what we were talking about with Layla with what do you call it? Lawsuits. Somebody wanted to sue me for me reading a housing article from 2 years ago. And I'm like, okay, I'll give you my address. I'll even pay for the tracking. Yeah. And I'll give you my credit card over the phone. Pay for the tracking right now. So let's go. I'm going to make an entire video series with production, lighting, air mics, booms. In the air, booms, you know, with the mics? Yeah. The whole 9 yards. I'll finance the whole thing, man. I'll even go to Libya to shoot footage if I have to. And they're like, I never heard from them again.
Yeah, that's probably usually what does it, yeah.
I took a little video for you today. Yeah, I took a little video for you today of the level 4 center in Winnipeg here.
Whoa. A level 4 center?
The level 4 biohazards research facility in Winnipeg. Yeah, I went downtown. Thought, you know what? I'm down here, and that place is right over there. I pulled right onto their property, got out, and recorded a video of their building and their front. And then a security guard started walking towards me, some girl. So I got my truck and I drove away.
You should have just said Mike Martin's lives.
Yeah. Yeah, they probably got my license plate.
MM was here.
Yeah, who is this guy? Yeah.
Okay, so here's the South Korean church that Buddy brought up. This is a new article here. Authorities place more than 9,000 Sinching church members in self-quarantine.
Do you ever read about that church, that cult church where that lady, that super spreader went?
Is that where Tom Cruise goes?
No. That's probably even worse where he goes. But
I'm joking.
I know. But they said that the priest or whatever says that they're all they got some far out expectations of where they think they're going after in their afterlife.
Oh, is it the one where you got to wear black and you got to be on you have to wear black when you die, so then you get it's sent up to a spaceship or something?
Heaven's Gate.
Oh, no. You know what? You're talking Doe, Heaven's Gate cult. They killed themselves in California. They wanted to ride on the tail of Halley's Comet.
Yeah, 1997.
Hey, perfectly sensible.
Of course. Why couldn't everyone see it? It was just.
But I will tell you something. Over the years, I've met people, and I can see how people fall into those cults. They're just like, "Wow, you believe that?" Yes, I do, and I'm like, "Oh, wow." They're so easily, brainwashed and brought.
It's always a danger, yeah.
And you know what? The Freemasons, the governments, they've known that since the beginning of time. These people are sheep, the majority, you know.
Yeah.
Very few in this room that we're talking to right now. That's why you like to hide with your own kind, you know. You can, at least there's some people out there that you can still talk to and are still in the same wavelength.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. We're trying to find our tribe. That's all we're doing here. And
I'm gonna grab here real quick.
Try to brainstorm our way out of this.
Yeah, we gotta continue. We have to talk. We need to kind of be at one with. We need to connect somehow. We don't have to entirely agree with each other all the time, but I think we need to find a way to come together, right? So, guys, let's open some new coronavirus stuff. Coronavirus. Let's look in the last hour. So I filter it by last hour. Let's see what's up. Okay, 24 minutes ago. Okay, so this is images from the town in Italy. I don't know what language that is. There's nothing here, but just some Europe one thing that could go to hell. Okay, COVID chat. Somebody else is chatting here. That was streamed 4 hours ago. Coronavirus pushes gold prices to 7-year high.
Relevant.
Oh, you know what, Mike? Remember your last show? I said gold and silver are going to pull back. I think the infection rate is slowing down in China, and I said because there was the Chinese, but you know how they manipulate it.
Mm-hmm.
But they were kind of putting it out there that the numbers are coming. So I'm thinking, you would think, well, the heroin addicts that run to the equity market, they want to go back to the trough right away.
Yeah.
Because they're going to hear that news, and gold and silver will pull back a little bit, right? But I said gold and silver are going to pull back, and they took off. So at the end of the show, I'm going to say, okay, gold and silver are going to pull back again, because hopefully it'll do the opposite again.
Mm-hmm.
Understandable.
So let's go to COVID. There's nothing here, so let's go to COVID-19. Let's go for the last hour. Anything up the last hour, guys? Anything up the last hour? 45 minutes ago, Iran shut schools, central. This one here?
Yeah.
Of schools, universities, and cultural centers following the deaths of 6 people from the coronavirus. The authorities
Is it
also
Ontario
suspended
now?
all sports events for 10 days,
What is it, Wes?
starting from Monday.
Is it in
The episode
Ontario?
surfaced on Wednesday,
There's a couple of
when
cases in
authorities
Ontario,
announced
yeah.
The first deaths, 2 elderly people.
How many in
Hong Kong.
Canada now?
They were also the first confirmed.
Oh man,
deaths
I
from
don't
the
know,
virus
man.
in the Middle East.
We'll check
wow.
right now. Hold on, we got it up here. We got it here. The one that's spreading through the prisons is scary, man.
Yeah, confined spaces.
Yeah, that's a hell of a place, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Let me see if I could find it here real quick. We have the
Look.
John Hopkins. Here it is, guys. Canada. Let's refresh this to make sure it's up to date. Let's go Canada. Where's Canada? Where are you, Canada? It's showing 9, Raven.
It was 8, 9.
But it's weird how Iran had none, and then all of a sudden they get all this stuff, and it comes like a huge wave. And that's why I was asking Supreme Canon, could it have mutated?
You know what? I found it weird about Iran is that they had 2 cases and they both died. They say it's rising up to a 3% kill ratio.
Oh,
But
no,
how
it's
do you
higher than
have-
that now. It's like 6 dead.
Yeah, no. I mean, but like what percentage out of 100 people does it kill? It used to be 2%, 2.1. Now if they're saying it's 3, if it's only 3% of 100 and Iran has 2 infected people, but they both die, I found that, well, isn't that a little bit above the odds?
That's a little high.
So right now
It's
we're getting 5 total deaths. It's actually 6 because we got that confirmation in that article.
Right.
It's actually 6 total deaths with 28 cases.
That's a lot of deaths,
Yeah, we brought that up earlier in the show that that ratio is dangerous. That's a dangerous ratio.
Yeah, that's like a 22. Yeah, that's up there.
That's very dangerous.
that-
And you know what? I think Iran has no reason to lie about this.
I don't know
There's no
about that.
advantage in them lying anyway.
No.
They're already under enough sanctions as it is.
I trust Italy. I really trust Italy's numbers. We're going to know from Italy, Japan, South Korea. We're going to get true numbers. And I said this like 5 shows ago.
What about North Korea? They're not going to get nothing from them.
South Korea, I'm saying.
Yeah, I know, but North Korea, they're saying they got nothing.
I wouldn't believe them because they're communist dictatorship.
Yeah.
But Australia, Australia's going to lie through their teeth to get their students in.
So it seems.
Has the window closed to stop this thing from becoming a pandemic?
It's
said.
already a
Has
pandemic,
it?
buddy.
Is it?
I called several insurance companies today, travel insurance companies, and I told them I would like to fly to the Philippines with my family, and they told me, you know what they told me? We can't insure you because you are in a pandemic, so we cannot insure you for this virus.
So what you're still going?
Well, no, I don't think we're going to go right now. No. It's my wife is very upset. She really wants to go see her family, but it's just the timing is just not right now, you know what I'm saying?
What's the numbers in the Philippines?
It's low. It's like, but the thing is, again, I don't think the Philippines is it's showing that they have 3 cases here and 1 death and 1 recovery.
You're taking the whole family?
Well, no, we don't know if we're going now, right? So
Oh, but we're going to take the whole family.
we were gonna go together, yeah.
She's upset.
Yeah, she's upset. But what am I gonna do? I can't. It's like, do we go into this because the Philippines does not have the facility to if this outbreaks in the Philippines? I don't think they have the facility. I think Japan's a little bit more advanced when it comes to medical and all that stuff. I think even South Korea, but I think the Philippines, they don't have. I read an article here that the Philippines is not capable coronavirus. I read an article about that the other day.
But I think once you're on the ground, where you guys are going, it's safe. It's those airports. You want to stay away from the airports. That's a very, very contagious area.
See, coronavirus Philippines, risk impact measures, and no, I wanted to find that article where they are not capable of a mass outbreak because they just don't have the facilities. They don't have those. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, yeah. They're not ready to deal like India and Africa.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's the problem, right? So
Be like a fire in a dry field.
Oh, big time. Yeah. No, if there's a place begging for this to take off like a prairie fire, it would be India.
Yeah. Well, what's their contingency plans in Canada? Like,
flyers. We get flyers at the border.
Yeah.
Flyers. Yeah.
Antiviral flyers.
Okay, here's the article, guys. Let me open it up here for full screen so you guys can see. Philippines ill-prepared as it grapples with coronavirus threat. Overworked healthcare staff, exposure to virus as government faces criticism over the $197 million cuts in budget for health. So they're not prepared.
You know, on the bright side, Mike, it doesn't really affect the young. And you and your wife are rather young too. Well, it'll affect you guys, but you guys are healthy enough to be able to deal with it. You'd have a really good shot.
My problem with this, Raven, is if we get put into quarantine or the sky travel gets shut down and I'm trapped in the Philippines. I don't mind being trapped in the Philippines when I'm 65 and retired. No. You know what I mean? I don't mind being there for 2 years. My problem is I have a problem with like not being able to come back here.
Yeah, that'd be an issue.
Yeah. That's my issue, right? If they close flight, Canada will close flight from the Philippines if they have to, if there's an outbreak. They won't close it from China, though, but they will close it from the Philippines.
What about from the Philippines somewhere else? Well, I don't know. That all depends what the Philippines does. Hopscotch your way back.
Island hopping.
See,
MacArthur.
Yeah, I can come get you in my Bayliner, but that may take a while.
Hey, I wanted to ask if it was okay. Maybe in the summer, if I'm here and if you wanted to come in for a weekend or a week or something, and you could do a few shows here, live.
Please, I don't know.
Huh?
I don't know. How about out this way? How about out at the cottage on the dock?
Yeah, I get that, but it will have to be streamed off of a how do you call it, a cell phone or something, right? With here, tell them about my studio. It's okay.
It's good. He's got a studio.
You got a new piece of studio.
Two big ass screens. He's actually got a decent microphone. I need one of these. Mm-hmm. And yes, an impressive library of everything under the sun here. No, it's good. He's got a good setup.
You'll have a new microphone on Friday.
Thanks, buddy.
Nice.
Yeah, thanks for that. Thanks for thinking about us. You know, think about the channel. Everyone contributes to the channel somehow, some way. You know, whether they share a video or whatever. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, you'll know. I threw a CN crest in there too.
Yes, I'm gonna put that on my lapel on the jacket here.
Mike Martin's junior engineer.
Yeah, junior engineer.
Beautiful.
Yes.
Yeah,
Eamon Lowley is in the comments saying, I know the studio. He does. He's been here. I could attest that he has been in this room. Yeah, he has been in this room.
He didn't have a cough or sniffles or anything, did
No,
he?
he was
okay,
fine.
good.
He
I'm
was
just checking.
fine.
I'm just checking.
But, okay, so Philippines ill-prepared. So that's what I'm afraid of. That's what, like, could the Philippines handle something like this, and what happens, right?
Well, I guess the answer to your question, because you guys were leaving on the 8th of March, is that
March
right?
H. By the 1st of March, we'd know.
So that's 2 weeks away.
1st of March is
Well, it's another week.
Another week, yeah. So we'd know by another week. Let's say if it goes to 15 or 30 cases, and those 15, 30 cases were walking around town or going
If it looks like it's going to go hockey stick, well, then the question answers itself.
Yeah. I think...
How can it not go hockey stick?
Good question.
In the Philippines, you got 300 million people, and it's just like living in everywhere. They're just like, I don't think they have the infrastructure at all to deal with that.
Yeah.
It's just, how can it not?
Well, apparently this bug is a quantum bug. It literally pops into existence somewhere where it shouldn't be, and it starts infecting people. Mm-hmm. Like some time traveler or something.
Exactly. So who's seeding it out there? That's what I was thinking. How's it getting there? They don't, they're doing all the groundwork, but they don't know how it gets there. Like, that's very suspect.
So Philippines population right now is 104 million.
That's a lot of people. Not as many as I thought it would be.
104 million. I always thought it was 80 million.
Yeah.
I don't know why.
7,641 islands. Well, there you go. You've got somewhere to hide anyway.
7,641, yeah.
How many people is it in the Philippines?
104 million.
I thought it was 300 million. I looked it up.
No, you're probably thinking of Indonesia.
Indonesia is pretty jammed.
You know what? No, Indonesia is 200 million. I looked up the
264 million.
Yeah, I looked up the Philippines because I work with. I work with 7 Filipinos. They're all veterinarians, but they don't recognize their education. They have 2 more years. Mm-hmm. And I said, they were telling me, like the stories they tell me of the Philippines, how poor it is, because I asked them questions about their country, and they won the lottery. Those guys, like, they're like kings from their country, and they got hired from the Philippines to come here and work for us. Mm-hmm. And the people that they like, when they go, they don't like going home because they all ask for money. They all want money from them, but it's like they can't even fathom how much money these guys make compared to being back in the Philippines. They won the lottery by applying online from the Philippines, and they got to come here and just start working with CN. It was like, so I did the math. I go, man, it's like, how many we hire across the country? We've probably hired 50, 60 Filipinos. I don't know. But all those people won the lottery when they got that. It's amazing to me that the stories they told me. They don't get new shoes until their uncle goes to Canada and buys shoes at a garage sale and sends them back. That's when they get new shoes.
Wow, garage sale.
I said to them, I go, you must think we're all just a bunch of whiny. He looks at me and goes, yeah, you guys are. And I said, tell me the truth. Come on. He goes, yeah, you guys are. We can't believe how much you guys whine about everything. And we're like, they take all the extra shifts. They're there at work all the time. They want to, because they can't fathom letting go that kind of money. It's like their family, you could hire a maid for a year off one of their, like, one trip that they make, like, they can't let go of that money. Eh? I don't blame them. It's a different quality of life. Totally
can you tell me if let's get into just a little tad of American politics, okay? How did you feel when Bloomberg got shut down by Pocahontas there?
I loved it. Fat-faced lesbian. What did she say?
Lesbian or something?
Yeah.
Yeah.
How did that make you feel, Raven? Tell me.
I really liked that. I really did like that. Yeah. I did. I thought that was amazing. Shut them right up, eh?
Okay, and then now let's go to the next part of the question. How do you feel that Hill Dog is starting to creep into the seams?
I don't think so. Didn't she say she's not going to come back? She's not. She can't. She's too much of a criminal.
She always says she's not coming back. She never goes away.
Yeah. She's not coming into politics again.
No.
She may take some position somewhere, but she's not going to be any president or vice president ever. That's not going to happen.
No, they'll prop her up and keep her pumped full of inflated with just
You know,
formaldehyde, whatever they use. She owes them $1 billion. They're going to use her up until she literally falls apart like a zombie.
She's 72.
She'll be back. Whether she's back running for
right?
office like that, I don't know. But she'll be there as the
No.
their
How
whatever
blatant
they
is
use
it
her
that
for. Have you noticed that the Democrats have come up with this radical new solution to Trump? They're going to hire a crude talking New York billionaire. That's an original thought, isn't it?
yeah,
Yeah.
Trump's already
It's
yeah.
kind of got the high ground there already, I think. Yeah.
Yeah, Trump's he's already, he was told years ago he's already a 2-term president.
There you go.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Well, they're not making it real hard for any other. I mean, there is no other outcome right now, as far as I'm concerned.
Mm-hmm.
Whether he was chosen or not, it doesn't matter. They don't have to manipulate this one. He's going to skate in there, no problem.
Let's go back to coronavirus
They've got
updates. Last hour.
You know what? That if that coronavirus does, they're not slamming your videos for saying that name.
They're just not getting monetized.
If it doesn't start to take off the way that they want, remember, Plan C is going to be coming into effect. If it doesn't do what they need, they know they're out of time juicing that repo market. You can't keep taking stock market highs week after week after week. That grows really old really quick. So you can imagine something else is going to come to help tip that big domino over that they want to tip over.
Okay,
This will do it.
Raven, let me ask you something. Do you
We
still?
laid off 12 guys yesterday.
Let me ask you something.
Yeah, go ahead.
Do you agree with? Okay, am I delusional? Do you think this fall guy for the WHO? This guy is a fall guy. I honestly think this is a front fall guy for the WHO.
I just think like a lot of people in a lot of positions, he's an underqualified person to be in that position. I just think that. I never had any
I think he's a fall
confidence in
guy.
that.
I think something's gonna break with this guy.
Yeah, I've listened to the ex-WHO leader there, and he seemed like a way more competent person. That guy, I don't really. He doesn't emit confidence to. I just don't see it. I just think that, man, who is that guy? Like,
I've never
just
heard
don't.
of this guy till like 3 weeks ago.
Yeah, and I don't have much faith in their whole health organization. It just does. It seems like it's more just a label. And what the hell are they doing?
Oh, here we go.
And
Here
now
we
a
go.
new
Stop
warning
the press. Stop the press.
from the CDC. about
Global coronavirus concern in the Ukraine.
It's another place where it'll go rampant.
Here we go. Ukraine.
It already is, yeah. Yeah, there were riots there and buildings getting burned because there was some people from Wuhan that were supposed to be quarantined in Ukraine, and they weren't having it.
Wow, Ukraine. Wow. So this is gonna get really serious real fast, dude.
It was serious when they put that vial of coronavirus on that food in that Wuhan food market. Whoever spilled that shit down there, it got serious.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I had a theory about that. It's like, okay, if it wasn't bats and if it wasn't accidentally released from the lab, I think somebody's Tinder date went really wrong. Or there was some party official that came in, some yappy little purple-haired party official came in, ruined their day. And they figured, okay, well, what am I going to do about this? They took a vial about the size of a gel cap and put it in a Ziploc bag. And they went to this old Battle Axe's apartment building. And they went up to the roof. And they broke it inside the bag. And they threw it in where the fan blades of the ventilation system could chop a hole in it. And then they got on a plane and left for their 30-day vacation because they knew that by the time it was time to come home, they wouldn't be able to.
Ah,
that's my theory. I think it was a bad Tinder date, Chinese Tinder date.
Bad Tinder date, the movie, guys. 2021
yeah.
fall.
The Stand, yeah, the one-night stand.
Yeah, the one-night stand. But if you're alive to see it, summer 2021, if you're alive to see it.
Popcorn.
I had just a little different of a version. It was this virus started on Epstein's Island. Bill Clinton was.
Woo!
Well, there were definitely some transmissions going on there, I'm sure.
Yeah. Bill Clinton was there.
Yeah.
You know what, guys? Like, let's get serious now. Like, seriously, I honestly think they can contain this. I think all of us are gonna get the corona. I think not all of us, but a majority of us will get this. The main question is, where are you gonna be when you get it? And
Yeah.
are you have preparedness on your side? And have you woken up to the alarms that are going off all around you?
You know, before we get to that point, you better wonder if this is going to knock out our food distribution and you want to put food in your cupboards.
Yeah.
There's a lot of people in your room that are prepping that right now. There's lots of people in there. Donaire. I know that guy's prepping for food. There's tons of people in there prepping for food. That's a smart thing. That's going to be more valuable than precious metals in the short run. That's going to be your number one go-to. What do you got in your fridge? Because if they do what they did in China and they start shutting down and all of a sudden trains aren't moving, just in time's gone, and that could very well happen if this thing starts to really spread. Because you know what? We're almost there now. How much further do we got to go? They shut down half of China. They're starting to shut down stuff in Italy and around the world, different things. How much can they shut down before that whole system? We've got too many eggs in all our baskets, in one basket. Everything's like all of our. What if we have no electricity? We can't pay for anything. We have so many different ways to be shut down so quickly. So you're right. Probably everyone on the planet will get this virus. And within 2 years, they're going to say mandatory vaccine for everybody because we want to stop transmitting this because it keeps retransmitting. So that'll be the guys where they can jack you with that vaccine they want to put in you and probably have nanotechnology in it, like Catherine Austin Fitz says. She's a very smart woman.
Yeah.
She goes on and on about that. There's a lot more about vaccines that we got to cover and really look at what's their mandate for those vaccines. What do they want to load us up on the Jedi cloud? What all is all that?
Well,
food's important though. And I think you're going to be getting a mandatory vaccine off this. And if I could bet, and I will place this bet, I would bet $50,000 that they did this. I'll do that right now. I'll sign that right now. You'll never know, but I would place that bet. I'm very confident they did this. I would say I'm about 99.99999% sure that they did this to take the blame of what's going to happen to our economy because we all know what's going on in the economy. Most people don't. We know what's going on. If they take that blame and it crashes on their watch, those guys are going to be going to jail, and a lot of them, and people are going to be held accountable. They wash their hands, they get on their yachts, they go out to the Bahamas, they're gone. That's it. It's what I would do if I was in their shoes. Wouldn't you do it? Or would you just sit there and say, you know what, I think I'll take this on the chin? Now, it's time to wake up and really look at it for what it is.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so what scares me is that countries like Pakistan, Afghanistan, and where is it? Like Uzbekistan, all that area there that borders China. I'm really scared that either they're severely underdeveloped or they just think it's not going to happen to them, or I'd be hard pressed if someone told me there was no cases in these countries. In India, I don't know. I don't know what's going on in India, but I'm just worried about some countries not. Like Canada, of course. Well, it's weird because of all the countries that are not taking in flights, it's Canada and the United States they're allowing flights from China, and that's Canada and Australia. A lot of other countries have shut down their flights from China, and then you got United States that's popping up red all over the place here. And I honestly think this might get a lot worse before it gets better, Raven. A lot worse. And I'm not trying to gloom and doom and pull an AMTV here, right? I'm trying to be really calling a spade here. But you know what, Raven? We don't know what we're dealing with still.
I was in a room with 8 people yesterday morning at work. Not one of them knew what I was talking about. That I found shocking. Nobody here watches at least the news or something? I don't watch the news. I don't watch TV. I have no cable. I don't watch TV. That's gone. But nobody watches anything? Don't they at least have an advertisement on Candy Crush or something? Nobody knows anything. I found shocking. I think if you polled all the country, how many people would actually even know this is going on?
Mm-hmm. You know what's scary is that a lot of them watch cable. A lot of them get their information off cable television. My mom still streams like City Pulse News from Toronto, like upstairs, like when I'm in the house, and I'm watching. I'm like, what are these people talking about? Did these people just come from Alpha Centauri, or did they come from the Andromeda system? Like, who hired these journalists? Are they out of their tree? And they're talking about the housing market. Yeah, it's a good time to buy. They're lowering rates, so it's going to make it cheaper to buy. It doesn't make it cheaper to buy. It makes it longer to pay back.
Yeah, rates are going to be coming down.
Oh, they're going to have to go into negative territory. Hey, wait, Raven, I got an idea. What if this is the way they go into negative rate territory to save us from financial crisis?
It's you know what? That's a moot point now at this point. They've got it.
Let's get rid of the cash. It's transmitting virus, and let's go to negative rates.
Yeah, they're going to do whatever they're going to do. It's like, what are we going to do? We got no choice.
That's the question. That's the only question that matters. What are we going to do?
Yeah.
What are you individually going to do? What am I individually going to do? What can we? How can we collectively talk each other through this?
Well, I watched an investment banker on the internet. If you really want to know stuff, type in whistleblower at the end of your query there. You know, whistleblowers, they come out and they tell their stories. You got to really take it with a grain of salt. Is this person really a whistleblower? But they said to this guy, I think his name's George Green. I'm sure Lord Humongous knows who he is. He whistleblowed on. They wanted him to be a finance minister for Jimmy Carter. And he said, well, I don't know who that is. And they go, don't worry. He's one of our guys. He's going to be elected. And he was at a Switzerland. He was in Switzerland at a ski lodge. And Pierre Elliott Trudeau was there, his wife, Jack Kennedy, all these big players. And they said, go talk to Jack Kennedy. He'll fill you in on what it's like to be a finance minister. Because they owed this guy a favor. He used to take companies apart, dismantle companies for them. And he went and talked to Jack Kennedy. And at the same time, he had brought his two daughters to the ski resort to go skiing while he was in this meeting. While he was talking to Jack Kennedy, his 15-year-old daughter walked in the room, and Jack Kennedy looked at him and said, wow, I'd like to sleep with that. And he looked at him and said, no, you wouldn't, Jack. That's my daughter. She's 15. He looked at me and he said, I don't care. And he was so irate. He was so irate. He got up and walked out of this meeting. As he walked by Pierre Elliott Trudeau and his wife, he looked down, and in front of them was a half-size cigar-shaped box of white powder. And he walked and he looked at them, and he kept walking out. He said in that meeting in the 70s, they were talking about neutron bombing California to get rid of the population. And then he said to him, well, why do you think you can talk about this now? Aren't you worried they're going to come after you? And he says, no, they don't care. What are you going to do about it? There's nothing you're going to do. There's nothing you can do. That's what he said. There's nothing you can do. I 100% believe what that guy said about that meeting. So, what are you going to do? You can't. We're going down. They flushed the toilet. We're going down. So what pipe are they going to take us to? Where are we going with this?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But just be on to them.
Yeah, we got the breadcrumbs. We're following the breadcrumbs. We're going to we're at the gingerbread house now. Yeah. And we're just outside. We're ready to go. You know what I'm saying? And that's how it flows.
Yeah. Again, they talk a lot of smack and they do a lot of stuff, but they always have to do it behind the scenes because they know if it came out, they'd be dead.
You could see their whole playbook. People are programmable. We're sheep. The average person's pretty programmable. They just you can see what over time, the Freemasons, the 33rd degrees, they knew that. They knew the secrets of the Freemasons. They knew how to program and how to use media. They teach you those in the higher, in the high levels of Freemasonry. So you can figure it out, though. The internet made us very smart, a lot smarter than we were.
Well, they didn't anticipate that.
No, they didn't, especially when they were showing us the Apollo 11 ship in 1970. Yeah, this is the way it was built. The walls are about as thick as 3 sheets of tinfoil. Really? Well, they had to do that to make it light, they said. So you sent a ship at 3,000 miles an hour in the vacuum of space with walls that were as thick as 3 sheets of tinfoil. And since then, you've lost all the technology on how to go there. And now everybody's racing to go there again, but they can't quite get people there. But we did it in 1969 with a couple guys wearing a couple uniforms they bought at Walmart during Halloween. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, duh.
No, it wasn't Walmart at the time. It was Woolworths or Kmart.
That's right.
Right,
There
Kmart.
was one Walmart in Bentonville, Arkansas.
That's it, yeah.
That's right, yeah.
The Walmart
Fake
brothers.
news, Raven. Fake news.
I don't want to fall like people call me a conspiracy theorist. I don't want to go down that road all the way. But some stuff is just common sense.
It's just pattern recognition, right?
Yeah.
And inconsistency recognition.
Mm-hmm.
Tell you one thing: a population in 1969 is not the same population today. You ain't pulling that shit over on us now. We're holding you accountable. There's no way. There's no way. You're not telling us that you're going to wrap 3 sheets of tinfoil around a steel frame and shoot it to the moon.
Mm-hmm.
No.
Yeah. No, that's right. And the important thing is that a lot of things have happened between now and then that we have way, way, way less reasons to trust them on anything. And their response to millions of people wanting to know about inconsistencies is to have the media completely block it out. And even the politicians that were supposedly on your side tell you to stop asking questions.
Yeah, I want an independent study done on that coronavirus. I want them to rip apart the structure of that virus. I want to know if there's a HIV protein attached to that. I want to know how it got in there.
Yeah.
I want them to go through that whole thing. Don't let this blow by. No.
No,
We're going to look at.
It depends who like I said, there's a lot going on that we don't know. There's a lot of puppets moving around, and there's a lot of puppets taking the stage right now. The puppets are on stage now. Let's just wait for the fall guy to fall. Let's wait for other things to move into place. Let the chess pieces get settled before we call checkmate.
Mike, you know what? Mm-hmm. No, let's find those 2 guys in India that wrote the paper that said there was an HIV protein attached to this. Let's go talk to those guys.
No. Those guys disappeared.
If they're, like I said, if they're still alive.
No, those guys are gone. They disappeared.
I would like to get to the bottom of this before they implement the next phase to take over the dominoes. Let's get to that point before they shut our food distribution down. There's an agenda here because it comes back to common sense. We used all of our coincidences. We used all of the coincidences in the world up in 2001. Any coincidences that we had, we used them up back then. No more coincidences. So let's get to the bottom of it. Plan C is going to be implemented soon enough if the hockey sticks don't take off around the world.
Every morning I wake up and see this and that and this expanding, doubling numbers, blah, blah, blah. It's like, holy max. It's going to come to a theater. It's going to come to a doorstep near you.
Have you noticed it's getting very thin on the news stories of things like impeachment and stuff like that? Like, impeachment's done, I know. But do you see it getting thin out there that they don't really need to make up bullshit because they've got us just glued to this?
Mm-hmm. So you're telling me they're basically compartmentalizing, whatever you say it, us in ways where the left hand's doing something and we don't know what the right hand's doing, so we're stuck on the right hand right now with this virus, but like in reality the left hand is what's actually driving the car?
There's a hidden agenda, and it's nefarious in origin and nature. This thing is you can see what they're doing. If you explain the whole thing, it goes into a conspiracy kind of environment, right? But it's I think we all know that it's a direction they're pushing us. It's the world's going to become a melting pot, a melting pot of one color of people. That's what they're doing.
Well, that's the goal.
That's the goal. They're flooding.
I don't know though. You look out the window today, and they're nowhere near that. I mean, ultimately, you're only going to have one color of people. It's going to take, even if everyone completely miscegenated, it's going to take about 5 generations to do that. So
they've been working this for centuries. Centuries. Yeah, this has been going on for a long time.
It has, yeah, but there's a lot of things that over centuries the message gets dimmed. It's been incredibly effective. I agree with everything you're saying there. This has been going on for a very long time. But I don't know. I still think that there's going to be some circumstances where they can't plan everything in advance. They still have to react somewhat to what's going on around them. If they were in complete control, they wouldn't have to hide anything.
Look at
they don't have to. You remember Gary Webb, who in the 90s, who was exposing the Mena, Arkansas cocaine operations.
Yeah, that guy.
Right? The Clinton Foundation, the Clinton body count. Obviously, there are people that were always this close to exposing them and bringing down their whole empire. Well, if truth like that can bring down their empire, then they're not as powerful as they seem.
No.
It won't bring down their empire.
No, well, nothing will bring down their empire because they'll kill anybody. The problem is that the people who might prosecute them for killing somebody
Hillary Clinton
also won't touch them.
And she the street. They could do whatever they want. There's no law for them. And look at the longevity of the banking families. These people have been doing this for centuries.
Mm-hmm.
They're very good at what they do. I'm not saying they're not, but it's all behind the scenes.
There's a lot of things I won't get into on Mike's channel there. I steer away. I'm staying away from that stuff.
Yeah.
That's not for this channel. So that's for,
No, and you're right. You're right, Raven, because I'm sorry to interject. You try to explain these things to people. You try to get them kind of in the side door. You kind of work it into the conversation. By the way, did you know the entire? You know what I mean, right? Yeah. Okay, that's a big picture thing. People don't think about it. The reason that we've hung together doing what's going on here is because we all kind of decided to look for ourselves, and that's how we kind of all wound up in the same space here. Like we didn't go out and get people, and like we kind of all came here on our own, following our own path. You know what I mean?
Why us?
Well, why not?
Us? I can name probably two. I can probably name 2 girls that I know in my life that think like that on that level. One I know here in the city, and that Layla.
Yeah.
That I've heard. There's probably more people that are outspoken, but why do we think like that? Like, why us? I always think that. Why us?
Yeah, are we the delusional ones? Are we the ones outside the fence that don't get it?
No,
people are NPCs, man.
I think it's something else. If you're not falling in line as a sheep, and that's the majority, and that's a huge majority, why not? What is it about you that's not getting you to go into that field and graze with everyone else? Like, why do you refuse to go there? Why do you question?
You know what it could be, honestly, Raven? It's because I have children, and I know where things are going, and I see them, and I see the gameplay. I got the playbook in my hand, and I'm not liking it, so I want to voice it. So even if I die doing this, or end up dying doing this, at least I could say, you know what? At least this one guy stood up, and your
kids will look back and see that. They'll know their dad stood up for a better world. But I don't have kids, so why me? Like, why? Like, lots of people in this room don't have kids.
Well, everybody has their own, I guess. I don't know how to say. Everyone's got their own agenda, right? So maybe not kids. Maybe somebody wants to retire, and not worry about if their pensions are going to be wrecked. We talk about that, right? Maybe some people might be looking at a potential acquisition in a piece of real estate, and they're like, what, these guys, I go on one channel, they're telling me to buy now or will never own. I go on the Mike Martin's channel, he's telling me to stay the F away from real estate because it's a nightmare. So it's like, you know what I'm saying?
That kid I worked with yesterday wants to buy a house at the end of the year. I said, man, Like, I don't like to tell people what to do with their money, but I just said, maybe you want to just wait this one out here. Maybe just wait a year, like, what do you tell people who want to buy a house right now? I work with all these guys in their 20s. They're looking at getting married and having kids. Oh, we're going to try and have a kid. And I'm thinking, my God, do you know what the coronavirus is? No, I never heard of it. Do you know what the Federal Reserve is? No. Do you know anything about the economy? Not really. I don't really watch that. I watch hockey. Okay. And then I explained to one guy for like 3 hours this whole thing. And you know what he said to me? If this happens, is there still going to be hockey? That's exactly what that guy said to me. If this happens,
we are so doomed. We are so doomed.
I'm telling you the 100% truth. That guy said that to me. That guy was 40 years old.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. Researchers find 61.5% of coronavirus patients with severe pneumonia won't survive.
Yeah, we covered that earlier, yeah.
Yeah. So you're already dead.
So don't get pneumonia, guys.
Yeah, Raven, don't get pneumonia.
No to pneumonia.
My dad's sick. If he gets this, he's done. He has a compromised immune system.
Mm-hmm.
It's from chemo. He gets that, he's done. He won't survive that.
Yeah.
Not a chance. Not a chance. Yeah. Even a lesser than that would take him out. So that's what I worry about. Like, is this thing traveling across the country? Like, their contingency plan? Are they talking about anything? Are we having? And is there any public service announcements? Is there any? Do we know if we can get masks? Do we know if we can get gloves? Do we know? Nobody gives a crap. Nobody even knows about it.
Yeah, no one even knows what they're. Yeah. No. So here it is, guys. We covered this story earlier today. The cost of COVID-19 quarantine. Will you be financially prepared? I think the Ravens financially prepared.
I'm working on it.
Yeah, me too. Everyone is. Well, this is another reason to do it, right?
I need silver to go, but I'll tell you, man, look at it hitting 1850. It's such a resistance point. It just goes.
Yeah.
It ran to 1975 there, and what was gold wasn't even just around 1600, but it just can't break that 1850, probably because of manufacturing. The industrial component of silver is because of China. So I'm thinking maybe that's it, but
we have an update from Italy.
It's relevant, yeah.
Update from Italy 18 minutes ago. Italy introduces strict coronavirus emergency measures as 79 people test positive.
Where's that out of, Mike?
It's just it's out of the Clown News Network.
Yeah,
Italy. Okay, Italy.
Yeah, Italy introduces strict coronavirus emergency measures. So, and then we got another one here. Third flight carrying Diamond Princess passengers arrive in Hong Kong 40 minutes ago. 1 hour ago, your friends up here. Look, Chinese Xi thanks Bill Gates for coronavirus research funding.
I'm going to go out on a limb and throw a crazy prediction out here because I never do that. This thing is going to start to spread more in North America. It's not going to be let's just say that the elections are probably not going to happen. Trump is going to stay in power to deal with this problem. And this problem's going to take down the economy at the same time. And I love saying that on your show because I know it's recorded, and then I can go back and go, oh yeah, I did say that. But there's going to be no election. This is going to grab a hold, move around, and it's going to make it people are just not going to be able to travel around the country and that. And you can't have an election. And he's going to, I guess it's veto power. He's going to stay, and it's happened before. And he's going to stay in office and deal with this, and at the same time deal with the collapse of their monetary system, because that's going to be the end result. And if the virus doesn't do it, there's going to be something else that they throw at it to bring it down. But less than 24 months. That's a time frame, and you never give a time frame, but I'm saying less than 24 months.
Well, we got this. This was sent in to us by Three Right Guys Gaming. This article here is from La Repubblica. It's an Italian newspaper. Coronavirus in Italy updated hour by hour. So it's actually giving you hour by hour updates here on this one. This one's really nice if you guys want to take a look. So here it is, man. It's this thing is gonna be the Elizabeth. It's the big one. Do you know where I'm referencing that from?
Sanford and Son.
Sanford and Son. That's right.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
You big dummy.
You're aging yourself.
I was a kid. I was
What
a
is his
kid
name?
back then.
Oh, here we go. We got a good one here. Is the World Health Organization mishandling the coronavirus response?
I don't think they were ever competent enough to handle it.
Well, what could they say? They don't have any political power. All they can say is it's serious or not serious. So if they call it a pandemic, then, I mean, again, it comes down to the same thing. If they're wrong and nothing bad happens, that would be good, right? Except the reputation will be destroyed. If they call it wrong, their reputation will be destroyed. There's no way to win here for these guys. What if they contained the Wuhan flu before it got out of control and, 11, 12 million people were sealed up in their homes for a month before somebody said, no one's getting sick anymore. You could probably let them out, right? That guy'd probably still lose his job. And everyone would be mad because they were inconvenienced. There's something like this. There's just no way to win.
No.
Well, for them there is. And there's no way they were ever going to contain it at Wuhan because that wasn't the objective.
No. There was no way.
This is to be.
When that governor made the call to go ahead and have that open air feasting with 40,000 people on the streets for Chinese New Year, I mean, the die was set. Somebody had already made their decision about that.
Yeah,
that's how I see it. I don't know. No, I don't know that it was a weapon. It could have been an accident.
You could have.
Well,
I don't know. I understand that the timing is perfect.
The timing is damn perfect.
Talk about a time to collapse the world.
Johnny on the spot.
Yeah.
Johnny on the spot with the ammo.
Who has to gain from this? Who gains? Oh, that's right. The people who can get rid of paper currency, saying it's transmittable and push us into digital. Oh, that's right. The people who can give us a vaccine and say the whole world has to get a vaccine now.
Yeah.
Oh, the people who don't have to take the blame for robbing the entire world of its wealth and us putting them in jail for the rest of their lives. They have to gain from it. How stupid are we to take that and think that this is just something that was released? No, I've been saying that from day one. I was saying that months ago. They're going to bring this down. But look at it. Am I wrong? I know there's a lot of people there going, you know what? Like I said, we used all our coincidences up in 2001. We could.
Well, hold on. I think we're gonna need to get chipped for this.
Well, they're probably going to have a way of implementing that too off this. Mm-hmm. But I'll tell you something. That vaccine is your chip in a way because of what Catherine Austin Fitz is saying. It's nanotechnology. And then they load you up to the Jedi contract. And she said that they're pushing the vaccination laws in all the states right now. And she finds it very concerning. Why are they pushing those vaccination laws? She's a very intelligent lady, Catherine Austin Fitz. I've been following her for years. Yeah, she was in there.
Solari report, yeah.
She explained all the control files on how they control you in Congress and the Senate. They get you with prostitution, drugs, pedophilia, whatever they get you for.
Well, that's why they don't get the mafia. They know who the mafia is. They know who they operate. But the thing the mafia has is they have leverage. And they have that kind of stuff. And that's why a lot of these mafia families have been operating for so many years because they have the leverage on these people, right? Leverage is everything. They think they buy off the police and buy off the judges. They got leverage on them, left, right, and center.
Yeah. But you see, mafia, you talk cartel, you talk mafia. Those are different. Those are totally different. You can call these people mafia if you want. You can call them the cabal and that. But when we're talking at this level, These people can send a jackal into a jail, kill a guy, and the jackal gets out and nobody's charged. Mafia can't do that. Mafia can get some brute in the jail to kill you, but they can't do it at the precision of what these people. This is a whole new level. This is the ruling elite. They do. Mafia is way down. They're the little gangs down lower, and that these guys they have. You know what I mean?
I know what you mean, Jelly Bean.
I knew you were gonna. Yeah.
I got your friend up here, Raven. Your friend's talking on TV here on the side here.
Well, Hill Dog.
No, the World Health Organization leader.
You know what? Look, where's Christine Lagarde? Supreme, where is she? You know where she is.
Christine Lagarde?
Yeah.
Is she in Brussels or something?
Oh, well, what's she doing now?
Isn't she the head of the ECB?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, she is. Do you think she should be?
No.
She's not a banker? No.
I don't think the ECB should exist, so it doesn't really matter who's in charge of it, honestly.
Yeah, yeah.
I know, but they have a history of putting people in position. They wanted to make Trump's daughter the head of the World Bank. Should she be the head of the World Bank?
What, Ivanka?
Yeah, Ivanka. He offered her that job. She said no.
Who offered her that job? Trump offered her that job?
Yeah.
I don't think that's his job to give, is it?
No, he could have had. She could have had that job. That was last year. Google it.
Well, she's a little young for that. I don't think other countries would accept that.
Well, I'm not she's got a lot of experience in certain areas in that, but I don't think she's ready. And I don't think Christine Lagarde should be a banker. You know.
No, she looks like she should go back to starring in Cruella de Vil and 101 Dalmatians, if you know what I mean.
Like her position should be. We're talking PhDs, PhD and economist. You're talking. You got to have such a colorful resume to have that job, but no, it's who she is, what she's done, and it doesn't really matter because they have the set way of thing, which they know the playbook. Interest rate's going to go down, 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 negative.
Yeah,
you're going to print. These guys are going to print. Trump's going to clip a couple quarters off here coming into the election to create false prosperity. Canada's going to follow suit, a couple quarter points this year. Down, down, down. The spigots are going to open. Helicopter money comes. We got the virus to knock out the dominoes. This is going to fall apart. But boom, there you go. Mm-hmm. What else? See another way out?
Boom.
I see them. I think we're just resilient. We're resilient, and the reason why they've been holding back since millennia to pull the trigger on full control is because we're resilient. And history shows that we have a way to get out of that paper bag. What do you say? You think we do have a way to get out of that paper bag?
Yeah,
we do. We always find a way out of that paper bag.
It's not easy. It's not easy to take over the world.
No,
it's not easy.
They accused Martin Armstrong of manipulating the world economy and put him in jail for 10 years.
Yeah.
Well,
do you think he did that?
They just want... No. They wanted his source code, his confidence model, 3.14, for figuring out why countries are going to crash.
That's right.
He called the 87 stock market crash to the day. Who can do that, to the day? He called the Nikkei. He called the Russian collapse. He's a very successful forecaster. CIA got a hold of that and said, we want your confidence model. We want to know what you know. No, I'm not giving it to you. Threw him in jail for 10 years on contempt of court. False, bogus crap. The guy's out. He's still doing the same thing he used to do before. He's not no criminal. He never was. They did that to him.
Yeah.
Well, they needed a fall guy, right? And that's this guy here on the right of us here, Supreme, right here. See here? That's our fall guy right there.
Tedros, your buddy, Teddy Adhanom, laying down the law.
Yeah, we're going to get him... next time we do a video, we'll just get this guy playing for like 6 hours next to us talking.
That's right.
Yeah, that's right.
ASMR background noise.
Talking still. Yeah.
For soothing.
Yeah. Soothing
tones.
Mm-hmm.
For to help you sleep.
Mm-hmm. So, okay, Raven, any last words? Because Supreme Cannon looks like he's falling asleep.
When I woke up, I turned on my phone. I turned on I woke up because I was super tired when I got off work. I woke up, I turned on my phone. I see, Mike in the Night Live. Oh, I click on it, and I'm like, what?
Who the hell's
Like,
that old guy?
Am I dreaming? I knew who it was.
Yeah, right, yeah, you've
I
seen
thought
me
it
on
was
here
fucking-
before.
Am I dreaming? Because I could hear Layla talking, and then all I see is Supreme looking at. I think, am I dreaming? Is something's gonna happen? I really thought that.
Yeah, too many edibles, my friend. Let that be a lesson to you.
Raven, come for Raven. Just come for a weekend, man. I'll pick you up in Kamloops.
Yeah. Yeah, you
I just
travel
had.
solo, man. Like, come sneak out here. We'll have a few thousand beers, and we'll compare theories, and maybe we'll do a three-part show here. Hey, I just about said three-way, and I knew what you'd do with that, so I stopped myself. No, the answer is no, people.
No, and you know what? Because you're in Winnipeg, it will take you about 18 to 20 hours to drive here.
Yeah.
You know what? If I go that way, there's a show in Edmonton, the Red Rose Antique Show.
Mm-hmm.
I was going to set up at it last year.
Mm-hmm.
So there's a show I want to do out there. I want to sell some stuff. I got a lot of old collectible stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So I was talking to those guys and looking at getting some tables there, and I was looking at doing a show there just to get rid of some stuff. That would be why I would be coming out that way.
Well, you can come and visit us.
Well, I've drove to Vancouver before.
Okay, well, we're not talking about before. Now.
Well, I wouldn't drive. I'd fly.
Okay, you fly. It's 2.5, 3 hour flights here to Kamloops. Pick you up at the Kamloops airport, and you could stay here. You could crash here. Tell them my pad's not that bad.
No, it's good.
It's not that bad here.
This couch, yeah.
Turns into a bed.
Oh, does it?
No, it does. It's a
okay,
futon.
all right.
But then I have another bedroom over there, an empty bedroom.
No space for you, dude. Yeah.
Yeah.
Just gotta get it.
Yeah, I'm back at work now.
Yeah, well, you take vacation
that's good,
in the fall. Take a vacation in the fall.
The Maritimes are just about out of propane.
Yeah.
You better get on it.
It's getting slow. We laid off 12 guys yesterday. We're over 100 laid off in our busy season. Normally, at this time of the year, we have everybody working, and we have like 30, 40 managers from other cities here helping us, as temporary conductors to help us try and move trains. We have over 100 guys laid off right now, and a lot of engines parked in the yard. So I'm kind of just scoping it out and watching what's going on and seeing how the traffic's moving and keeping an eye on it. Okay. It takes 28 to 33 days for a Capmax super tanker to come from China to Vancouver. So 28 to 33 days one way for that ship to come here. So, December 31st, January 31st, how many, I think there's ships piling up, but I think you're going to start to see a lot less, because if they got that many people quarantined and shut down, it's got to be affecting the stuff that's coming here, right?
Well, they can't be loading too many ships right now. There's probably a lot sitting on both sides of the Pacific, waiting for, wondering what the hell to do next.
Yeah.
Until they get a straight answer on this, right? Because some of them aren't going to take cargoes, or they're certainly not going ashore when the rest of the country is locked down because of, the cerveza bug.
The cerveza. Okay, we're going to let you go, Raven, because it's 11:30 and Buddy needs to go to bed.
Okay, have a good one there.
We'll talk soon. God bless you.
Okay, I'm going to send you a video right now of that disease center there.
All right.
Please do.
Bye.
Say,
Bye.
sleep out.
All right, that was the Raven on. Don't forget to pick up your Raven mug, guys, if you want to support. We got the Mike in the Night mug. I was a guest on Mike in the Night right here. So if you're a guest on Mike in the Night, get a Mike in the Night mug. We're going to go plug the channel real quick, and we're out of here, man. It's getting late. I'm falling asleep myself. Are you falling asleep? I'm falling asleep.
Yeah, no, just I'm fine. My eyes are gonna fall asleep on me.
So here we go, guys. Go to the channel. If you want to share a video, please go and share anything. I don't care. Just share something. Also, get over here and pick up a Raven mug if you want to support the Raven. Wow, this is still on here? I thought we got rid of this one. This Mike of the Night mug, because There we go. It's gone. There we go. There's the new Mike of the Night mug here. Planner Chaos. You can pick up. Really nice. Look at that. Look at that.
Nice.
Yeah, that's pretty nice. That's pretty nice. So if you guys want to support the channel, also go here and join the channel. Supreme Cans, everyone's joining. And, yeah. And you could message me on Facebook. Look, see, people are messaging me on Facebook, see? Jokes and funny stuff. Here you go, guys. Here's my Facebook, guys. Facebook. There you go. Message me on Facebook. And you can also follow me on Instagram. Here, I'm going to give you my Instagram right now if you guys are bored. Here's my Instagram. And right there. Midnight Timmy's Run. Midnight Timmy's Run. No. It's time to hit the hay. You know what I'm saying? And that's it for Mike in the Night, guys. Thanks for joining us, and we'll play the tune one last time on our way out here, and here it is.
Thanks, buddy. It was fun.
Thank you so much for coming. And
anytime. We'll do it again.
We'll definitely do it again.
No, that's got a little practice.
Mike in the
Practice,
Night
yeah.
and the Gemini crew.
Right.
Mike into the night, you're here with Mike in the night. Mike into the night, you're here with Mike in the night. Let's just talk about the world. Give this page another turn, 'cause you're here with us tonight. Everything's alright when you're here with Mike in the night. Mike into the night, you're here with Mike in the night. Giving the world light when you're here with Mike in the night. Mike into the night, you're here with Mike in the night. Sometimes things are just absurd, so let's just talk about the world, 'cause you're here with us tonight. Mike into the night, you're here with Mike in the night. Mike into the night, you're here with Mike in the night. Let's just talk about the world. Give this page another curl, 'cause you're here with us tonight.